Chapter 1080. Xiang Dai suddenly thought of Ning Cheng and quickly turned to Ning Cheng while crying, "Big brother Ning Cheng, please save my great-grandfather." She really didn't expect that her great-grandfather was still alive. Not only was he alive, but he also knew that she was trapped in the underground abyss and wanted to save her. But her great-grandfather was alone, how could he deal with those powerhouses? Ning Cheng walked over and glanced at Xiang Dingtian, before speaking to Xiang Dai apologetically, "I can't lift his restriction." Seeing that Xiang Dai still wanted to say something, Xiang Dingtian quickly spoke up, "Dai, Dao friend Ning is right. The restriction they placed on me is connected to the blood pillar's life essence shackles. Only when someone tries to attack the blood pillars, can I take action. Moreover, I can't change the blood pillars. I always thought that my understanding of restrictions wasn't any weaker than others, and I wanted to use my own strength to lift this restriction. It's just that after so many years, I haven't made much progress." When Ning Cheng heard this, he felt slightly relieved in his heart. It seems that Xiang Dingtian also had his limits, at least for now, he couldn't do anything to him. Xiang Dai whimpered, "Great-grandfather, what should we do?" Xiang Dingtian hesitated for a moment before speaking, "I have another way, that is, Dao friend Ning can help me forcibly tear apart the restriction and tear apart my life essence and sea of consciousness. But in this way, in my current state, I'm afraid that I will never be able to restore my life essence and sea of consciousness." Xiang Dai was stunned, tear apart the life essence and sea of consciousness. When Xiang Dingtian saw Xiang Dai's appearance, he felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart. He knew that even if he stayed here, only death awaited him. Moreover, if he didn't take Xiang Dai away, then unless Xiang Dai immediately reincarnated, she would still be entangled by the filth of this underground demonic creature. "Dao friend Ning, please help me. Drop these array flags, and according to the method on this jade strip, help me tear apart my life essence and sea of consciousness." Xiang Dingtian took out a handful of array flags and a jade strip, threw them out, and looked at Ning Cheng earnestly. Ning Cheng nodded, this was something he could help with. After dropping the array flags, he followed the method on the jade strip and quickly tore apart Xiang Dingtian's life essence. Xiang Dingtian's primordial spirit was split apart, and his sea of consciousness was shattered. He let out a blood-curdling scream and rolled down from the gap in the boulder. It was as if he had been chanted a band-tightening spell. After rolling for 2 hours, he slowly stabilized and twitched on the spot. However, his eyes that had lost their Dao runes and his bark-like skin made one suspect that he would die at any moment. Ning Cheng had no way to help him. At the same time, he also knew that Xiang Dingtian should not pose much of a threat to him. Ning Cheng was very clear about the pain of tearing apart one's essence spirit and sea of consciousness. He was a body refiner and had experienced his sea of consciousness being torn apart, so he naturally understood that this sort of pain wasn't something a person could endure at all. It was a terrifying tearing feeling that came from the depths of his soul. Xiang Dai hurried forward to support Xiang Dingtian. Her skinny and withered face was filled with sorrow. For as long as she could remember, her great-grandfather had been the best to her. Later on, the Xiang family met with an accident. Many died and some died. Great-grandfather also disappeared. She thought that great-grandfather was dead. She didn't expect to see him again. But so what if she saw him again? She was currently being eroded by the filthy demonic creatures from the underground abyss. Her great-grandfather had also torn apart his essence spirit and sea of consciousness to save her. "Thank you, Dao friend Ning." Xiang Dingtian struggled to speak. He took out a thick black book from his ring and handed it to Ning Cheng, "This is for you." Ning Cheng took the thick black book in doubt. He could feel a strong devil charm aura from the book's cover. After thinking about it for a while, he understood what was going on. "Senior Xiang, this should be the Tai-E sacred devil art that you mentioned before, right? I have my own cultivation method, so I don't need this. You can give it to Xiang Dai." Saying that, Ning Cheng returned the book to Xiang Dingtian. Xiang Dingtian didn't take the book that Ning Cheng handed to him. He sighed and said, "This looks like a Tai sacred devil art. In fact, this book is just a scroll of a spirit technique." Spirit technique? What kind of spiritual technique is it? Ning Cheng immediately asked. If it was a spiritual technique, then wouldn't he accept it? Xiang Dingtian pointed to the jet-black devil art in Ning Cheng's hands and continued, "This spiritual technique is composed of 7 volumes. When the 7 volumes come together, it will become a spiritual technique. These 7 volumes are the Devil Scroll, Buddhist Scroll, Tao Scroll, Immortal Scroll, Heaven Scroll, Earth Scroll and Human Scroll. The scroll I gave you is the Magic Scroll. At first, I also thought that it was just a demonic art. It was only later that I found out that it was the demonic art of the 7 scrolls." Ning Cheng immediately thought of his 7 bridges. His 7 bridges spirit technique also consisted of 7 bridges. Although his 7 bridges had yet to take shape, Ning Cheng was very clear about how powerful his 7 bridges were. This divine art formed from 7 scrolls might not be any weaker than his 7 bridges. "Senior, may I ask what kind of divine ability this is? Does it need to be composed of the immortal, devil, Buddha, heaven, and human 7 scriptures?" Xiang Dingtian said slowly, "This sacred art is called formless Tai." Ning Cheng suddenly froze, Tai formless. Wasn't this the most famous Tai formless in the Tai realm? I heard that it was the #1 spirit technique in the Tai realm. How could it be composed of 7 scrolls? You should know about the horror of formless Tai, and you should also know about its great reputation. If anyone knew that you have the magic scroll of the 7 scrolls of formless Tai spirit technique, you would die. Xiang Dingtian said with a sigh. "Senior, why did you give this peerless spirit technique to me?" Ning Cheng didn't lose his mind. Formless Tai was a good thing, but why would someone give it to him for no reason? He didn't think that saving Xiang Dai would cost that old man Xiang to pay such a huge price. Xiang Dingtian seemed to understand Ning Cheng's doubts. If it were any other time, he would never give this spirit technique to Ning Cheng, even if it was just the magic scroll. "Dao friend Ning, you also know about my situation. My essence spirit has been torn apart, and my sea of consciousness has also been shattered. Wanting to find the remaining 6 scrolls in this life is undoubtedly a pipe dream. As for Dai, she is too kind. Giving her this book would only bring harm to her. What's more?" At this point, Xiang Dingtian looked at Xiang Dai affectionately. "Dai is entangled by the filth of the underground demonic creatures. If it is not removed, she will still live a life worse than death. There are only 2 places in the world that can save her and completely remove this filth. One is the dragon cleansing pond for the 5-clawed dragon, and the other is the Nirvana fire spring for the 7-colored phoenix. I don't know if the dragon cleansing pond for the 5-clawed dragon exists in the Tai realm, but I happen to know the Nirvana fire spring for the 7-colored phoenix. This time, I am crippled. After taking Dai to the 7-colored phoenix's Nirvana fire spring to cleanse the underground demonic filth, I will never come out again. Therefore, this magic scroll is the most suitable for you." When Qianqian heard this, she immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Xiang Dingtian. Xiang Dingtian quickly asked Xiang Dai to help Qianqian up and said, "I understand what you mean. Even if you didn't say it, I would have taken Miss Shi with me. Otherwise, she might as well choose to reincarnate like the others." Ning Cheng finally understood why the 81 girls he had saved before all chose to reincarnate without exception. It turned out that not having the courage to live was just one of the reasons. Most likely, they knew that they were entangled by the filthy aura of the underground demonic creatures. Even if they lived, they would turn into walking corpses. "Many thanks, Senior Xiang." She bowed to express her gratitude. She was ready to enter the reincarnation cycle after handing over some things. She also knew that if she didn't enter the reincarnation cycle, she would eventually become a demonic creature. Ning Cheng took out 3 bottles of Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills and handed them to Xiang Dingtian. Senior Xiang, this junior is an alchemy master. These are spiritual consciousness pills that I refined myself. They have great benefits for repairing the sea of consciousness. I use divine chalcedony as the main spiritual material for these pills. I will give these bottles to you, senior. Xiang Dingtian didn't care about it. He took the jade bottles and said, "Thank you." However, he quickly reacted, "You said you used divine chalcedony? Spiritual consciousness pills refined from divine chalcedony?" After saying that, he didn't wait for Ning Cheng to answer. He directly opened one of the jade bottles, poured out a medicinal pill, and swallowed it. After a while, he laughed, "I didn't expect my sea of consciousness to recover. As long as my sea of consciousness recovers, my essence spirit will slowly recover sooner or later." After feeling overjoyed, he remembered Ning Cheng and bowed to Ning Cheng. "Many thanks, Dao Friend Ning." Dao Friend Ning's name has the word city in it, and this medicinal pill is called the Empyrean Consciousness Transmutation Pill. Did Dao Friend Ning also create this pill recipe? Xiang Dingtian naturally knew that the pill recipe for divine chalcedony had long since been lost. Therefore, when Ning Cheng took out a medicinal pill made from divine chalcedony and refined it by Ning Cheng himself, he quickly thought of this. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and said, "Yes, this pill recipe was finalized by this junior with the help of pill sage Min Kong's deduction." Xiang Dingtian looked at the 4 arched bridges protecting this place and solemnly said, "You will have great achievements in the future. I'm not just talking about the 7 bridges spirit technique. Don't call me senior in the future, just call me by my name. I'm going to leave this place. Does Dao Friend Ning want to leave with me?" Ning Cheng looked at the 4th Yellow Springs Bridge, which was growing more and more powerful by the second. He took in a deep breath and said, "This junior wants to stay here for a while. I wonder if senior has a way to leave this place." Previously, his cultivation was too weak, and he almost couldn't hold on when condensing the 4th Yellow Springs Bridge. But now that he was a Tao Nourishment Holy Emperor, he could condense the 5th Reincarnation Bridge. As for the dragon cleansing pond that Xiang Dingtian mentioned, he knew about it. It was located in the Grand Essence Sea of the Grand Essence Realm. Since Xiang Dingtian knew about the location of the Nirvana Flame Springs, he didn't say much. What's more, it wouldn't be easy to reach the Grand Essence Sea from here. Xiang Dingtian laughed boldly. "I'm also a Primordial Essence Holy Emperor. Now that I've removed the shackles, this place can't stop me." He knew that Ning Cheng might not leave. If it were him, he wouldn't leave either. This place was simply a cultivation place specially prepared for the 7 bridges spirit technique. Ning Cheng definitely was a person with great luck. Not only did he possess the 7 bridges spirit technique, but he also obtained the Tai Formless Devil Scroll. With his ability to deduce the Empyrean Consciousness Transmutation Pill, it definitely wasn't as simple as these 2 kinds of luck. Because of this, Xiang Dingtian attached great importance to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's graciousness made him feel grateful. Ning Cheng's strength and luck were what truly caught his attention. Chapter 1081. Big Brother Ning, are you not coming with us? Qianqian looked at Ning Cheng with some reluctance. Ever since the 5 Realms Void City, she had been following Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had been the one to do everything. Now that they were separated, she was not used to it. Qianqian, Big Brother Ning wants to condense the 7 bridges. Naturally, he would not leave now. After she said that, she bowed to Ning Cheng again and asked, "Big Brother Ning, did Pan Qian return to the Grand Change Realm after you saved him?" Ning Cheng hesitated before speaking. At that time, Pan Qian said that he wanted to return to the Grand Change Realm. He said that he promised you that he would come back eventually. But my guess is that he hasn't returned to the Great Change Realm yet. The reason why Ning Cheng dared to make such a guess was because Ning Cheng knew that if Pan Qian came back, he would definitely be targeted by Lu Fangzhen. Since Lu Fangzhen had his eyes on Pan Qian, he wouldn't come looking for trouble with him and Qian. Dao friend Ning, maybe we will meet again in the future. Let's go. After Xiang Dingtian finished speaking, he directly brought out a talisman. This place was surrounded by Ning Cheng's 4 bridges, not even a single devil could come in. Moreover, even after casting out the talismans, there was not even the slightest bit of disturbance. A few breaths later, the talisman burst forth with Daoist rhyme radiance, sweeping Xiang Dingtian and the other 3 away. After the 4 of them left, Ning Cheng immediately flipped open the grandee sacred devil art in his hands, but did not see even a single word. Dao charm after Dao charm flowed through the scroll. Ning Cheng quickly closed the devil scroll. This kind of Dao charm flow made him feel dizzy just by looking at it. He did not know if it was because his cultivation level was not high enough to cultivate the formless Tai, or because he had not gathered all 7 volumes of the formless Tai. After sending the devil scroll into the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng directly put away the first bridge of coping, the second looking home bridge, and the third forgetting river bridge, leaving only the 4th Yellow Springs bridge. The first 3 bridges were used to protect Qian and the others. Now that Qian and the rest had left, he had nothing to fear. Since Ning Cheng obtained the 7 bridges spirit technique, the most powerful one was the 4th Yellow Springs bridge. The 4th Yellow Springs bridge was condensed in the Dark Nether realm. At that time, because the Yellow Springs bridge was affected by the Dark Nether realm's rule power, it was incomparably powerful. The Green bridge was engulfed by the dragon-like Yellow River, and its Daoist rhymes surged. If not for the 7 Bridges Realm book, Ning Cheng would have lost control of the Yellow Springs bridge and died in the Dark Nether realm because of the 7th bridge. At this time, without the help of the Dark Nether realm's heaven and earth law, the Yellow Springs bridge was still the most powerful bridge in Ning City. If he used it to deal with Dao transformation divine emperors, he wouldn't even need to use much of his strength. Even so, the Yellow Springs bridge was not completely solid. Now that there was a treasure land like the underground abyss, how could Ning Cheng let go of the solidification of the Yellow Springs bridge? Countless demons were swept away by the Yellow River of the Yellow Springs bridge. The Dao runes of the Green bridge became more and more solid, and there was a trace of spiritual qi in the Yellow River. Ning Cheng turned over and sat down on the center of the Yellow Springs bridge. The surging Yellow River, with its endless Dao charm aura, surrounded him endlessly. At this moment, the Yellow Springs bridge looked like an azure dragon under Ning Cheng's feet, while the Yellow River looked like a yellow dragon circling around Ning Cheng. At the top of the Yellow Springs bridge, the words 4th Yellow Springs bridge appeared between the yellow dragon and the azure dragon. In the boundless Yellow Spring, there was no good or evil. The soul turned to dust and the spirit was lost. No matter how many demons rushed into the Yellow Springs bridge, they all turned to dust and became a grain of sand in the rolling Yellow River. Feeling this powerful force, Ning Cheng's heroic spirit soared. He waved his hand again, and another blurry long bridge suddenly appeared. 5th Reincarnation Bridge. This was the first time Ning Cheng brought out the 5th Reincarnation Bridge. As soon as the Reincarnation Bridge appeared, the demons in the underground abyss rushed over. Even if the Dao charm aura of the Reincarnation Bridge was more profound than the Yellow Springs Bridge, because it had just been condensed, it couldn't withstand the impact of so many demons. The bridgehead, which was already blurry to begin with, began to shake under the assault of these monsters. Ning Cheng quickly waved the Yellow River on the Yellow Springs Bridge and swept away some of the demons. Without the impact, the Reincarnation Bridge slowly became clear and solid. The solidified Reincarnation Bridge was yellow with a hint of red, showing a pale orange hue. Ning Cheng stepped onto the Reincarnation Bridge from the Yellow Springs Bridge, and the surging Dao charm aura of reincarnation flowed over the bridge. Endless demons rushed past Ning Cheng, but the surging Dao charm aura on the Reincarnation Bridge instantly grinded them into dust. After grinding away the many demons, the Tao charm aura on the reincarnation bridge became even clearer and more solid. If this heart doesn't go to this body, then where should it go? Reincarnation, the body can go, but the person can't live. Reincarnation, the body can go, but the person can't live. What a good Tao charm. Ning Cheng stood on the reincarnation bridge and looked at the huge millstone gradually condensing under the reincarnation bridge. That's right, it was a huge millstone. Unlike other bridges, the reincarnation bridge didn't have the river of reincarnation accompanying it. Although it didn't have the river of reincarnation accompanying it, a huge millstone with the Tao charm aura of reincarnation gradually condensed under the reincarnation bridge. As the Tao charm aura of reincarnation became clearer, the millstone also grew bigger and bigger. Later, when the demons rushed onto the reincarnation bridge and got sucked into the reincarnation bridge, they would directly fall under the bridge. Then, the Tao charm aura under the bridge would turn them into nothingness. As Ning Cheng went deeper into the underground abyss, the reincarnation bridge grew stronger and stronger, and the Tao charm aura millstone also grew stronger. In the end, the reincarnation bridge's surging Tao charm aura almost formed a boundary, crushing everything in its path. As the increasingly powerful Tao charm aura of reincarnation surged around Ning Cheng even doubted that if he didn't have the Yellow Springs Bridge under his feet and the Yellow Springs River around him, he wouldn't have been able to withstand the surging Tao charm aura of reincarnation bridge. Fortunately, the Yellow Springs Bridge shared a lot of the pressure for Ning Cheng, and Ning Cheng still rushed forward. The deeper Ning Cheng went, the stronger the demonic creatures in the underground abyss became. The stronger the demonic creatures, the higher their intelligence. In the end, Ning Cheng stepped on the Yellow Springs Bridge and wrapped it around the reincarnation bridge. Like a horrifying millstone, it crushed everything in its path. The demonic creatures with a little bit of intelligence stepped aside in horror. Even if some of them were stronger than Ning Cheng, they didn't dare to collide with Ning Cheng head-on. As Ning Cheng went deeper, whether they had intelligence or not, they instinctively stepped aside in the face of Ning Cheng's crushing momentum. Ning Cheng didn't care about it. There were too many demonic creatures along the way, and his reincarnation bridge couldn't swallow all of them. As for those who stepped aside, he didn't care about them at all. Ning Cheng, with two bridges behind him, at this moment, was like a demon king from the underground abyss, sweeping everything before him without stopping for even half a moment. As the Tao charm aura of reincarnation bridge grew wider and wider, Ning Cheng immersed himself in this feeling of power. In just a month, Ning Cheng's fifth reincarnation bridge had completely solidified, and the huge reincarnation Tao charm millstone lay under the reincarnation bridge, exuding an aura of death. Ning Cheng didn't plan to condense the sixth bridge. His 7 bridges spirit technique only stopped at the 5th bridge. Moreover, the 7 bridges realm book didn't have a 6th bridge. Moreover, Ning Cheng felt that he didn't have enough strength to condense the 6th bridge yet. Moreover, Ning Cheng sensed a trace of rich spiritual chi aura. However, this spiritual chi aura also contained a strong demonic aura. If he hadn't obtained the Tai Holy Devil scripture, Ning Cheng wouldn't have been interested in the spiritual chi here that contained demonic aura. Moreover, he cultivated the mysterious yellow formless, not a demonic technique. But now that he had the Tai Holy Devil scripture, Ning Cheng decided to check it out. Rushing all the way, Ning Cheng stopped after half an hour. Just as he guessed, this place was indeed a spirit essence spring. This spirit essence spring was much stronger than the one he had used to convert his spirit essence. Moreover, the law Dao charm emanating from this spirit spring was extremely clear. Ning Cheng felt sure that if he cultivated here, it wouldn't be any worse than the dragon cleansing pool. Because the law aura here was more complete than the dragon cleansing pool, he wouldn't be able to cleanse his body like the dragon cleansing pool, but his progress wouldn't be slow. Unfortunately, the spirit spring here was permeated with demonic chi, and Ning Cheng didn't cultivate a demonic technique. As such, he couldn't use this spirit essence spring at all. Ning Cheng suddenly thought of Nalan Rushue. The world was always so strange. In the past, Nalan Rushue used him as a demonic cultivator and joined forces with others to deal with him. Many years later, he still cultivated his mysterious yellow formless, while Nalan Rushue had become a real demonic cultivator. If Nalan Rushue were here, it might help her cultivation a lot. Ning Cheng shook his head and turned around to leave. In a month, he condensed the 5th reincarnation bridge. Now, he needed to leave this place as soon as possible. It would be best if he cultivated for a few decades and then see if he could improve his array Dao to the next level. That way, he could seal the demonic creatures in this underground abyss again. As for Ao Beijiang, he was currently missing. Given how vast the Grand Change realm was, Ning Qing didn't believe that this fellow could find him. The moment he turned around, Ning Qing suddenly remembered the Dao-charmed great millstone under his reincarnation bridge. That millstone was composed of the Dao charm of reincarnation. Could he use the reincarnation bridge's Dao charm millstone to grind away the demonic qi in the spirit essence spring? Thinking of this, Ning Qing raised his hand and swept the reincarnation bridge over the spirit essence spring. Ning Qing just gave a slight thought, and the rebirth bridge sucked away the demonic qi above the spirit essence spring. The Dao charm millstone under the bridge instantly grinded it into nothingness. In just one day, the demonic qi above the spirit essence spring had almost disappeared. Ning Qing was overjoyed. How could he miss such an opportunity? He landed on the spirit essence spring without hesitation. While letting the reincarnation bridge grind away the demonic qi, he crazily absorbed the nomological spirit qi to cultivate. Since advancing to the Dao birth realm, Ning Qing hadn't cultivated properly. During this period, he either studied alchemy or artifact crafting. Although the mysterious yellow formless was cultivating all the time, but how could he sit down and concentrate on condensing the spirit essence and cultivating like this? After a few hours, Ning Qing was completely immersed in this carefree cultivation. The Yellow Springs Bridge protected the Spirit Essence Spring, and the Reincarnation Bridge's Dao Charm Millstone continued to grind away the demonic charm aura in the Spirit Essence Spring. The origin aura in Ning Cheng's mysterious yellow bead had long since merged with the terrifyingly pure spirit qi in the Spirit Essence Spring. With the protection of the Yellow Springs Bridge and the Reincarnation Bridge, Ning Cheng no longer had any distractions in his heart. His strength continued to improve. Chapter 1082. The Tai Alchemy School's third round of Heavenly Qianyuan Pill competition finally came to an end. The dark horse of the Grand Essence Realm, Ning Cheng, didn't participate. In the end, the first place went to the Grand Change Realm's Yuguji, and the second place went to the Grand Beginning Realm's Feng Shihao. Although Ning Cheng did not participate in the third round of the Heavenly Heaven Pill competition, but he was still able to obtain the third place. What everyone could not understand was that Ning Cheng had not even returned when the award ceremony was about to begin. Grand Change Pill Meets Association head, Mu Zuoxiao, valued Ning Cheng a lot. Even if Ning Cheng didn't return, he still gave the things that Ning Cheng deserved to Sichin Chiu Tian. He even allowed the Grand Essence Realm to increase the number of participants to 10 in the next 5 realms pill competition. At the same time, he also allowed some of the Grand Essence Realm's powerhouses to move to the Grand Change Realm for cultivation. What Mu Zuoxiao wanted to do the most was to see Ning Cheng as soon as possible and exchange some pointers on the Tao of Alchemy with Ning Cheng. In fact, it wasn't just Mu Zuoxiao who wanted to see Ning Cheng. There were too many people in the entire Great Change Realm who wanted to see Ning Cheng. There were sects, Tao courts, and even some women who thought they were stunning beauties. At first, Sichin Chiu Tian thought that Ning Cheng would return soon. But half a year after the 5 realms pill competition, there was still no news of Ning Cheng. Only then did Sichin Chiu Tian feel anxious. Not only was Sichin Chiu Tian anxious, even Mu Zuoxiao was anxious. Other sects and Tao court that wanted to rope in Ning Cheng gave up after Ning Cheng disappeared. Mu Zuoxiao was different. The reason he organized this competition was to find the most talented alchemist in the 5 realms. Since the start of the Five Realms pill competition, one could say that Ning Cheng was the most talented alchemist he had ever seen. Grand Change Realms Yuguji indeed looked good, but compared to Ning Cheng, Mu Zuoxiao felt that Yuguji still fell short. Even if Ning Cheng did not participate in the third round of the pill competition, he still felt that Ning Cheng was the most talented alchemist. Since Ning Cheng could refine the heaven and earth ephemeral flower pill that contained 9 different attributes in the second round, it definitely wasn't just because of his talent, but also because of his own secrets. In Mu Zuoxiao's opinion, this was nothing. Who doesn't have their own secrets? If an extraordinary alchemist did not have his own secrets, then that would be a real secret. Yuguji of the Great Change Realm had no secrets. How could he refine the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill without any secrets? Feng Shihao had no secrets. If he didn't have a secret, he wouldn't be able to achieve second place. He also had his own secrets, but in the end, he still lost to that person. In Mu Zuoxiao's view, if Ning Cheng couldn't help him regain his lost breath and perfect his Tao heart, then Feng Shihao and Yuguji wouldn't be able to do the same. If Yuguji could do it, he wouldn't have to preside over the 5-realm pill competition every single time. He could just ask Yuguji for help. Yuguji was indeed talented in alchemy, and this kind of talent might lead to great achievements in the future. No matter how big he was, he probably wouldn't be able to defeat him. If he couldn't even defeat him, then there was no need to mention defeating the alchemy elite that he had lost to. But now that Ning Cheng, whom he had managed to find with great difficulty, had unexpectedly disappeared, it made him unable to continue to sit still. Since Mu Zuoxiao was so anxious, Si Chen Chiu Tian was naturally even more anxious. The waters of the Great Change Realm were too deep. Even if he wanted to find it, he had no idea where to start. He could only find Jing Han and the others to discuss it. I'm afraid that he knew that Senior Mu would hand over the reward to the association head, as such he deliberately stole it. The greater Ning Cheng's achievements, the more uncomfortable Jing Han felt in his heart. He came to participate in the pill competition, but he didn't even pass the first round. Yet, Ning Cheng managed to get third place in the 5-realm pill competition despite missing 1 round. How could he endure this? One had to know that he, Jing Han, was the #1 genius pill sage in the entire Grand Essence realm. Ning Cheng was just a rogue cultivator. What was he? Dao friend Jing, pill sage Ning isn't such a person. He must have encountered something. To Jing Han's surprise, the one who stood up to speak up for Ning Cheng was Lu Shizhen, who had lost to Ning Cheng back then. Mei Xiuan also frowned slightly and said, pill sage Ning shouldn't have done this. Jing Han sneered, no need. He has association head Lu Dongce's universe vegetation in his hands, and he has to return the book. Now that he's missing, how can he return it? Didn't he rely on the universe vegetation to get into the top 3 this time? Only a fool would return the book with the help of the universe vegetation. Shut up, Ning Cheng isn't such a person. Si Chen Chiu Tian spoke up in anger. He had called a few people over to discuss how to find Ning Cheng. He didn't expect that Jing Han would jump out before they could even start discussing. That's right, Dao friend Ning isn't such a person. Besides, even if fellow Daoist Ning wants my universe vegetation, I'll just give it to him. You really do have the heart of a villain. Lu Dongce's voice arrived just in time. Mu Zuoxiao followed behind Lu Dongce. Jing Han's face suddenly turned ugly. But facing Lu Dongce, even if he had 10,000 guts, he wouldn't dare to refute. The owner of the matter didn't care about it, but now he said that Ning Cheng wanted the universe vegetation. It was an obvious sign of jealousy. Si Chen Chiu Tian quickly stood up to greet them and at the same time instructed Jing Han and the others to leave. He felt a little embarrassed because the entire Grand Change Alchemy City knew about Ning Cheng's disappearance. Therefore, he didn't put up any soundproofing restrictions. If he had known that Mu Zuoxiao and Lu Dongce would come, he would have put up a soundproofing restriction. This was simply spreading his dirty linen in public. After Jing Han and the others walked out, Lu Dongzi took the initiative to put up a soundproofing restriction and said, "Association head Si Chen, do you think someone would do something to Dao friend Ning's disappearance?" Someone? Si Chen Chiu Tian froze for a moment. Because Ning Qing didn't tell him anything, he didn't know what Ning Qing did in the Grand Change realm. Mu Zuoxiao spoke up in a deep voice, "I used many methods, but I couldn't find any news about Ning Qing. I only know that Ning Qing left early before the third round of the pill competition. But according to my investigation, not long after Ning Qing left, Lu Fangzhen, the Luying Dao Pavilion's Wading Sacred Dao City, also followed him out." Si Chen Chiu Tian's heart thumped. He also started to suspect Lu Fangzhen. Lu Fangzhen had visited Ning Qing before, and he was right next to him. At that time, the atmosphere didn't seem to be very good. Many people came to visit Ning Qing, but only Lu Fangzhen came before the Five Realms pill competition. However, Lu Fangzhen's power and strength weren't something that Si Chen Chiu Tian could touch. Even if he had doubts, he couldn't say anything. Mu Zuoxiao, on the other hand, was different. He was almost on the same level as the Luying Dao Court's Dao monarchs. It wasn't a big deal for him to suspect a city lord. Besides, Lu Fangzhen was indeed worthy of suspicion. Lu Fangzhen came to visit Ning Qing before the Five Realms pill competition. Do you know about this? Later on, he left the Alchemy Dao school with Ning Qing. Moreover, he never came back. Later, I found out that Lu Fangzhen went to see the Luying Dao Court's Dao monarch Jesse. Let me ask, when Lu Fangzhen came to see Pill Sage Ning, were you there? After Mu Zuoxiao finished speaking, he looked at Si Chen Chiu Tian. Si Chen Chiu Tian naturally wouldn't hide anything and told him about the conversation between Mu Zuoxiao and Ning Qing. Whether it was Mu Zuoxiao, Lu Dongzi, or Si Chen Chiu Tian, which one of them wasn't a genius? Once Si Chen Chiu Tian's words came out, everyone understood that Ning Qing's disappearance definitely had something to do with Lu Fangzhen. Moreover, the fuse was that woman called Qianqian. As for why, they would have to investigate Qianqian or Lu Fangzhen. Mu Zuoxiao sighed and stood up. "I hope that Pill Sage Ning is blessed by the heavens and can return soon." Si Chen Chiu Tian also sighed in his heart. He knew that Mu Zuoxiao wouldn't offend the Luying Dao court for Ning Qing, whom he had never talked to before. He also wouldn't blame Mu Zuoxiao. If he were in Mu Zuoxiao's shoes, he wouldn't have done the same. After sending off Mu Zuoxiao, Lu Dongzi and Si Chen Chiu Tian sat in silence in the room. Whether it was Si Chen Chiu Tian or Lu Dongzi, none of them could fight against the Luying Dao court. Time flew by, and time flew by. Apart from the lively Five Realms pill competition 15 years ago, the Grand Change realm had remained abnormally calm recently. It was like a pool of clear water without any ripples. After the Five Realms pill competition ended, the various pill union masters left the Grand Change realm with the pill competition participants. Si Chen Chiu Tian was no exception. After waiting for a few years without any news of Ning Qing, he also left the Grand Change realm. Even if the few pill sages who participated in the pill competition wanted to stay in the Grand Change realm, they needed to get permission first. Although the Grand Essence realm had a few quotas to settle down and cultivate in the Grand Change realm, Ning Qing had earned these quotas. Even if Ning Qing disappeared, Si Chen Chiu Tian didn't hand them out. Outside a spirit essence spring in the depths of the underground abyss, a cyan arch bridge and an orange arch bridge surrounded it. No matter how many demonic creatures entered, the two bridges would sweep them away. The long yellow river on the cyan arch bridge looked very quiet. These demonic creatures weren't worth the roaring of the yellow river. Perhaps because they knew about the power of the two arch bridges, many demonic creatures slowly moved away from this place. Over the years, the number of demonic creatures in the surroundings had decreased. The boundless divine spiritual energy and nomological power in the God Essence spring formed a storm whirlpool. This storm whirlpool was swept away by a man sitting in the God Essence spring. The man's upper body was bare, and his strong muscles were faintly discernible in the spirit essence mist. The Tao runes around him almost condensed into substance. Every time he breathed, the nomological Tao runes around him would shake. This was Ning Cheng, who cultivated here. In more than a decade, his cultivation level had not only reached the late-stage Tao birth realm from the early-stage Tao birth realm, but the Tao runes around him had also become more mellow and condensed. At the same time, the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge and the fifth Rebirth Bridge had also become more majestic and had more profound Tao runes. This spirit essence spring was like the heart of the underground abyss. No matter how much Ning Cheng absorbed, the same amount of spirit essence kept pouring in. Indeed, some people wanted to suppress the demonic creatures in the underground abyss. But more people knew that this was a real opportunity, an opportunity to become stronger. Boundless demonic creatures rushed out of the underground abyss, and the demonic crystals of these underground demonic creatures were absolutely pure. Once one obtained a bunch of these demonic crystals, wouldn't one's comprehension of the Grand Tao improve by leaps and bounds? After the first demonic crystal was confirmed to be pure, more and more people flocked to this place. The underground demonic creatures had just erupted and hadn't reached the extent where they could sweep through the entire Great Change realm. Therefore, many powerful cultivators had already teamed up to enter the underground abyss through the Torn Seal to hunt for demonic crystals. In just a few days, the underground abyss under the Scorched Tree God Temple was once again filled with cultivators. The demonic creatures in the underground abyss erupted, and demonic crystals were everywhere. At this time, everyone was filled with a friendly atmosphere as they hunted demonic creatures together. No one could imagine how terrifying it would be when the demonic creatures completely erupted. Boom! When Ning Cheng's body and sea of consciousness erupted with a terrifying power, the entire spirit essence spring under Ning Cheng started to tumble. The Tao charm around Ning Cheng's body formed a grand Tao law flow at this moment, which flowed around Ning Cheng. The starry sky sea of consciousness expanded once again, approaching the vast starry sky. At the same time, the laws of spirit techniques also became extremely clear. Spirit essence crystals rushed out of the ground of the spirit essence spring and exploded around Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng suddenly opened his eyes. With such a huge flow of Tao charm and the power of laws, he finally understood what it meant to be a powerhouse. Every time he felt this kind of unprecedented power, he felt the urge to roar. After nearly 20 years of crazy cultivation, he finally advanced to the Tao transformation realm. Only when he advanced to the Tao transformation realm did Ning Cheng realize how powerful his Tao transformation realm was. Now that a second-step Tao confirmation sacred emperor, a Tao essence sacred emperor, had arrived, Ning Cheng felt confident in his ability to fight. This confidence came entirely from his grand Tao charm aura. It didn't contain any arrogance. With a wave of his hand, he could sweep up the nomological spirit technique. This kind of power gave Ning Cheng some enlightenment. No wonder those Tao essence sacred emperors could deal with him as easily as breathing. This was a kind of control over the power of the laws of heaven and earth. If one lacked a single point, it would become a natural chasm. Ning Cheng waved his hand, and a faint mark appeared in the surrounding space. When he was at the Tao birth realm, he couldn't leave such a mark even if he used a nomological spirit technique. Maybe with the 5-colored star splitter arrow, I can kill Tao essence now. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng felt very comfortable. Staying in the underground abyss was definitely worth it. Looking at the Tao charm of the Yellow Springs Bridge and the Reincarnation Bridge suspended around him, Ning Cheng felt even more satisfied. It had already condensed into a killing machine that easily strangled the surrounding demonic creatures. His spiritual consciousness swept out, and his expression changed drastically. Even if he was ignorant, Ning Cheng could see that the demonic creatures in the underground abyss had erupted. The endless demonic creatures kept tumbling, and several cultivators couldn't even hold on for a while before they were devoured by the demonic creatures. Ning Cheng's expression turned ugly, not because he had rescued the 83 innocent girls, but because he didn't take any measures after that. He didn't study the array formation and find a way to seal it again. Instead, he chose to cultivate here. Chapter 1084. Ning Qing once again extended out his spiritual consciousness and quickly understood what was going on. Although there were many monsters outside the seal, they were not much of a threat. As long as they formed a small team, it would be very easy to harvest demonic beasts and obtain magic crystals. However, as they ventured deeper, the demonic creatures suddenly grew stronger, completely enveloping the cultivator teams. As long as they ventured deeper, only death awaited them. Towards the end, the cultivators trapped in the demonic creatures had no way to retreat. More and more cultivators died. By the time many of them realized the danger, they could no longer walk out. Some of the more powerful Saint Emperors took out their teleportation talismans in an attempt to break through the space there and leave, but they discovered that the space there had been locked up as well. Ning Qing also felt the changes in the laws of the surrounding space. Coupled with the fact that the cultivators who came in before could easily hunt for demonic crystals on the periphery, once they unwittingly went in, they would never be able to get out. This made Ning Qing suspect that this was intentional. If there really was a powerful monster commanding them here, it would not be a good thing. However, Ning Qing soon felt that his thoughts were somewhat superfluous. If there really was a powerful demonic creature in this place, why would this demonic creature allow him to cultivate in the underground abyss for nearly 20 years? Thinking of this, Ning Qing felt a little relieved. He took out an appearance-changing weapon and changed his appearance to that of a rogue cultivator before putting away the 4th Yellow Springs Bridge and the 5th Reincarnation Bridge. The reason why Ning Qing changed his appearance was because he was afraid that Lu Fangzhen would find him. Other than Lu Fangzhen, there was also Mu Zuoxiao's master, Ao Beijiang. Perhaps he wouldn't be able to fool Ao Beijiang even if he disguised himself, but it was still better than not. If he could learn the devil transformation god art, even Ao Beijiang might not be able to recognize him. Ning Qing immediately brought out the first bridge of coping. To deal with these low-level demonic creatures, his first bridge of coping was more than enough. The pale white bridge of coping no longer looked as fragile as when Ning Qing first learned it. At this time, when Ning Qing brought it out, it transformed into a giant mouth that could devour demonic creatures. The roiling blood river under the bridge of helplessness directly swept up a bunch of demonic creatures. After these demonic creatures were swallowed by the blood river, apart from making the blood river surge even more violently, there was no other trace of them. In just a short time, a vacuum of demonic creatures formed in front of Ning Qing, turning the black space into a dark gray. Ning Qing didn't even bother to look at these low-level demonic crystals. Instead, he threw them all under the bridge of coping to strengthen the Tao charm of coping. Boom! Ning Qing walked out of the spirit essence spring, and the bridge of coping only swept out for a few minutes before a powerful force slammed into it. The bridge of coping made a series of ka-ka sounds, and a violent shockwave slammed into Ning Qing's chest. Ning Qing felt the Tao charm around his body loosen, and his domain showed signs of collapsing. The void cold light spear in Ning Qing's hand rolled up the Tao charm of the spear patterns, which blocked the raging waves of backlash. But after he stood still, several cracks appeared on the pale white bridge of coping. He didn't continue to stimulate the Tao charm to repair the bridge of coping. Instead, he put away the bridge of coping and released his spiritual consciousness once again. His surroundings were empty, without a single trace. Even if Ning Qing knew that the one who attacked him was a powerful demonic being, he would not be able to find the hiding place of this demonic being. Ning Qing looked down and saw that he had returned to the edge of the spirit marrow. What was going on? Perhaps it was just a coincidence, but Ning Qing once again brought out the 4th Yellow Springs Bridge. The power of the Yellow Springs Bridge was much stronger than the first bridge of coping. Ning Qing stood on the Yellow Springs Bridge and let the surrounding Yellow River roll out, sucking the endless demonic beings into it. After Ning Qing moved a few hundred meters forward, another terrifying force blasted over. This force disappeared without a trace, as if it had been waiting for him. This time, Ning Cheng was prepared. The void cold light spear directly tore through the surrounding space and arrived in front of this force. The moment before the cold light spear slammed into this force, the surrounding space came to a standstill. This was a spear Dao spirit technique that combined the laws of space and the laws of time. After Ning Cheng advanced to the Dao transformation realm, even a Dao perfection expert would have to find a way to resist this spear. Boom! The void cold light spear's spirit essence Dao charm collided with the powerful force, causing bursts of spatial explosions. Some of the weaker demonic beings in the surroundings, under the bombardment of this violent force, directly burst out their demonic crystals and disappeared without a trace. The cold light spear slammed into the terrifying Dao charm nomological power, causing Ning Cheng to fall back again. Ning Cheng looked at the divine essence spring under his feet sluggishly. He finally understood what was going on. This invisible force didn't allow him to leave the divine essence spring. In other words, if he cultivated in the divine essence spring, nothing would happen. But if he didn't cultivate in the divine essence spring, he wouldn't be able to leave. A chill rose in Ning Cheng's heart. Even if he was an idiot, he would know that there was indeed a powerful demonic being causing mischief in this place. He had advanced to the Dao transformation realm, which meant that his strength had increased by dozens of times compared to before. Even so, he couldn't break out of this demonic being's imprisonment. Just how strong was this demonic being? Was this demonic being so good that it let him stay here and cultivate? If it wasn't so good, why didn't it just kill him? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness continued to penetrate the divine essence spring surroundings. 1 incense stick worth of time, 1 hour, 1 day. At this time, Ning Cheng had already ignored the sounds of fighting outside. He himself was trapped in this small place, not to mention those cultivators who came in to court their own deaths. By the time the next day passed, Ning Cheng finally saw some clues. This divine essence spring was definitely a seal, and it was at the very center of the seal. Previously, he had used the rebirth bridge to grind away the demonic chi aura in the divine essence spring and then used the divine essence spring to cultivate. In fact, he had loosened the seal. It stood to reason that even if an ordinary person absorbed the spirit essence in the divine essence spring and cultivated for many years, the seal wouldn't loosen. After all, the spirit chi absorbed from the spirit essence would quickly be replenished. However, Ning Cheng was different. He had absorbed too much spirit essence for cultivation, and the replenished spirit chi wasn't enough. This caused the seal to loosen, and the demonic being started to struggle. Compared to the 83 blood pillars, this place was the real seal. Without the suppression of the girl's pure body, even Ning Cheng couldn't see through the array formation of the seal. From this, it could be seen that the demonic being sealed underground hadn't completely broken free. If it had completely broken free, then he wouldn't have needed to stay here to cultivate. Instead, it would have killed him directly. Ning Cheng had actually been used. Even if he advanced to the Dao transformation realm, he still felt extremely unhappy. Was the spirit essence very strong? Ning Cheng didn't know how this seal was arranged, but he had something stronger than the spirit essence. I don't need to care about this seal. I just need to make the spirit aura and law aura of the divine essence spring stronger. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng didn't bother to continue escaping. Instead, he grabbed a handful of array flags and threw them down. Large spirit gathering array, 5 elements array, spirit chi sealing array. Since he couldn't strengthen the seal here, he could start with the divine essence spring. Ning Cheng took out the measureless gourd and injected the 5 elements of chaos chi into the divine essence spring. After injecting the 5-element chaos chi into the divine essence spring, Ning Cheng set up a spirit gathering array and a 5-element sealing array. The nomological Dao charm power of the divine essence spring suddenly grew stronger. Not only that, but the spirit essence chi in the divine essence spring also started to gather crazily. Even before Ning Cheng started cultivating, the divine essence spring wouldn't have had the 5-element chaos chi. Now, Ning Qing added the 5-element chaos chi and used an array formation to seal the 5-element chaos chi. From this, one could imagine that once the spirit aura of the divine essence spring returned to its previous state, the divine essence spring seal would become even stronger than before Ning Qing started cultivating. As if it could feel Ning Qing's movements, the ground suddenly gave out bursts of rumbling sounds. A thunderous roar echoed from the ground, and several terrifying forces blasted towards Ning Qing. Ning Qing had seen this kind of power before, and it wasn't something he could block. However, he had to block it and stabilize the seal. Even if he ran out of the 5-element chaos chi, he wouldn't hesitate. Bringing out the everlasting blue thunder fort, Ning Qing poured the 5-element chaos chi from the measureless gourd into the divine essence spring. Boom! Even if the spirit essence spring stabilized after Ning Qing's 5-elemental chaos chi seeped into it, the powerful force still slammed into the everlasting blue thunder fort, causing Ning Qing's body to make ka-ka sounds and spurt out a mouthful of blood. At this time, Ning Qing could only secretly rejoice. The underground demonic creature couldn't use lore-related spirit techniques against him and could only use this barbaric lore-related attack. Just when the next wave of power was about to hit him, Ning Qing suddenly felt the entire space shaking again. Then, the fluctuations of the laws in the space grew even quieter, and he felt as if someone was holding him down. The power that was about to hit him seemed to have been imprisoned and weakened. Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness swept out and soon saw the restlessness of countless cultivators. These cultivators also felt the shackles of the spatial fluctuations and felt the suppression. Not good, someone had arranged a great seal outside the scorched tree temple. Ning Qing didn't need to think about it to know that this great seal sealed the entire scorched tree temple. No matter how violent the underground abyss became, as long as they didn't break free from the seal outside the scorched tree temple, the demonic creatures in the underground abyss couldn't break out. As the power of the laws grew weaker and weaker, Ning Qing's heart sank. This was equivalent to sealing him up as well. Once the nomological Taoist rhyme below was completely restrained, he would also be completely sealed. The restless cultivators obviously knew what was going on and wanted to rush out even more frantically. Unfortunately, these cultivators couldn't even break free from the encirclement of the demonic creatures, let alone rush out of the seal. Ning Qing stopped attacking the divine essence spring. He had already seeped some of the 5-element chaos chi into the divine essence spring, which meant that the seal would only grow stronger. Coupled with the seal outside, no matter how strong the underground demonic creatures were, they wouldn't be able to break free in a short time. Perhaps because the most powerful demonic creature underground had been suppressed, the attacks of the low-level demonic creatures outside once again turned chaotic. But even so, they were still several times stronger than the cultivators who came in. Demonic creatures continued to kill groups of cultivators. Chapter 1085. All the pinnacle experts of the entire Great Change Realm had gathered outside the Scorched Tree God Temple. The Tao Lords of the 5 major Tao Courts, the Sect Masters of the 3 major Tao Sects, the Elixir Association and the Weapon Association. Apart from the extremely mysterious 7 deity halls, no one else was left behind. The sealing of the Scorched Tree God Temple was the result of a discussion between the 5 major Tao Courts. The Sect Masters of the 3 major Tao Sects and the Weapon Association Master did not object or agree. However, the Elixir Association Master, Wuxia, objected. Wuxia was alone, so he could only raise an objection. After he objected, the 5 major Tao Court still wanted to seal this place. He could not say anything. Wait. Wuxia called out again when he saw that the seal was about to close. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he explained, I also agree to seal the Scorched Tree God Temple. However, there are tens of thousands of Great Change Realm cultivators below. Once the Scorched Tree God Temple is sealed, those cultivators will definitely die. I wonder if we can save these tens of thousands of cultivators first, and then seal them. A pretty woman with an oval face snorted coldly. Guild Master Mu is so compassionate. The seal of the underground abyss has just loosened. This is the best time to seal it. If we don't seal it now and delay a little, can Guild Master Mu suppress the 10 devils when they break free? If Guild Master Mu is willing to bear the consequences, the Yaohua Dao court will naturally have nothing to say. The woman who spoke was Bai Ling of the Yaohua Dao court. The Scorched Tree God Temple was close to the Yaohua Dao court's border. She was also the one who suggested sealing the Scorched Tree God Temple. Bai Ling and Mu Zuoxiao had never been on good terms. The other 4 Dao courts had sent people to the 5-realm pill competition except for the Yaohua Dao court. Now that Mu Zuoxiao wanted to risk the loosening of the seal and the 10 devils breaking free to save them, she naturally retorted. Mu Zuoxiao's expression was gloomy and he did not continue speaking. At this moment, no one spoke up for him. Everyone knew that the truly powerful things in the underground abyss were not the scattered devils but the 10 devils. I will bear the consequences. Stop closing the seal immediately. I want to enter the underground abyss. A deep and crisp voice landed in everyone's ears. Then, a middle-aged, elegant man dressed in green clothes stood in front of the Scorched Tree God Temple. His face was slightly pale. Master. Mu Zuoxiao hurried over and bowed. When the rest of the people saw this elegant middle-aged man, they also came forward to greet him. Almost everyone respectfully addressed him as Senior AO, and only a few extremely senior experts would address him as Brother AO. This person was none other than Mu Zuoxiao's master, AO Beijiang, a renowned Dao integration expert in the Grand Change Realm. There were very few people in the Great Change Realm who did not know of AO Beijiang. One must know that not only were there very few people who could become friends with the Great Change Realm Lord, but they were also the strongest of the strongest. AO Beijiang was such an expert. Not only was he a friend of the Realm Lord, but he was also a top-notch Dao integration expert. His Dao runes circulated around him, almost merging with the entire Great Change Realm. Some people even said that AO Beijiang had touched the 3rd step. Even the Dao lords of the 5 great Dao courts had to be polite to AO Beijiang. Even though Mu Zuoxiao was AO Beijiang's disciple, the truth was that Mu Zuoxiao did not learn his pill Dao from AO Beijiang. AO Beijiang's strongest point was not his pill Dao. In fact, his pill Dao was even inferior to Mu Zuoxiao's. AO Beijiang's greatest strength was his sacred art. In the Great Change Realm, he was definitely one of the top 10 experts. When Bai Ling saw AO Beijiang coming over, her face turned a little ugly. Even though she was not afraid of AO Beijiang, she could not openly oppose him like this. She could only look at the Dao lords of the other 4 major Dao courts and the sect masters of the 3 major sections. Dao Lord Jia Xinshui of the Taishan Dao court suddenly stepped forward and said, Senior AO can go to the underground abyss, but please help us completely seal this seal after you come out. Even though the Dao lords of the 5 major Dao courts were powerful, they had not reached Dao integration. The 5 major Dao courts indeed had their own Dao integration experts, but these Dao integration experts would definitely not come out to play with a seal restriction. In the Great Change Realm, every Dao integration expert did not come out. Nothing could make them come out from comprehending the 3rd step of Dao validation, unless the Dao court was destroyed. AO Beijiang was a complete anomaly in the Great Change Realm. He never hid his whereabouts and rarely comprehended the 3rd step of Dao validation. Of course, some people said that AO Beijiang had already comprehended the 3rd step and only lacked some opportunities. The reason AO Beijiang ran around was to look for such opportunities. AO Beijiang nodded. All right. When I come out of the seal, I will definitely help you completely seal this seal. Even if I can't control it for eternity, I can still control it for tens of thousands of years. Upon hearing AO Beijiang's words, everyone was overjoyed. Jia Xinshui even cupped his fists and said, Senior AO's words are enough. Senior AO, feel free to go. We will protect the seal. Ao Beijiang nodded and said to Mu Zuoxiao, come with me. After saying that, Ao Beijiang's figure flashed and a hole suddenly appeared in the previously sealed Jiaoshu temple. Upon seeing his master enter the hole, Mu Zuoxiao hurriedly followed. After a few breaths, Ao Beijiang and Mu Zuoxiao appeared at the underground seal that Ning Cheng had entered. Ao Beijiang stopped and coughed a few times before spitting out an arrow of blood. Mu Zuoxiao asked in shock, Master, are you injured? At that moment, Mu Zuoxiao's heart was in turmoil. Who was this person who had injured his master and made him unable to recover until now? Could it be the Supreme Change Realm Lord? However, the Realm Lord and his master were friends. Why would he attack him? Ao Beijiang took out a white handkerchief and wiped the corners of his mouth. That's right. I came back to heal because of my serious injuries. Who was it? Mu Zuoxiao's heart surged. The person who had injured his master must have been killed by his master. Ao Beijiang took a deep breath and said slowly, only after reaching the third step of Tao validation can one have the ability to fight for the light from providence. I've comprehended the third step and learned that it's best to have my own creation treasure before entering the third step. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the opportunity to participate in the final fight for the light from providence. I've been traveling in the void all these years and once happened to walk into a void city in an endless plain outside the 5 grand realms. You've been there before. It's called Heavens Beyond. Mu Zuoxiao immediately understood. Master, did you hear that I failed an alchemy battle with someone in Heavens Beyond, so you went there to take a look? Ao Beijiang nodded. Indeed. You failed an alchemy battle and your Tao heart was damaged. If you don't find your Tao heart, I'm afraid you'll forever be stuck at the primordial chaos realm. Since I went to Heavens Beyond, I naturally had to teach that person a lesson. At the very least, I had to damage his Tao heart. At this point, Ao Beijiang's tone was slightly regretful. What I didn't expect was that when I was inquiring about this person's whereabouts, I actually heard some surprising news. This person used to have the world tree, a world tree that could restore the life force of a realm. Zuoxiao, you should know that the world tree is also known as the chaos tree. This person definitely has a creation treasure if he can bring such a tree. Even if he doesn't have a creation treasure, the world tree is not weaker than a creation treasure. I was overjoyed and immediately thought of a way to kill this person and take back his creation treasure. Mu Zuoxiao, who already understood how his master had been injured, asked in confusion, Master, the person who had an alchemy battle with me didn't have a high cultivation level. He didn't seem to have reached Tao integration. Besides, I'm afraid he wanted to kill me with a borrowed knife when he revealed the world tree. Ao Beijiang nodded to indicate that he had understood. Then, his face became a little distorted and he said with some lingering fear, if he had reached Tao integration, I'm afraid I would never have had a chance to return to the Great Change Realm. This person is the most powerful primordial chaos sacred emperor I have ever seen. If I hadn't escaped quickly, I wouldn't have had a chance to come back either. I'm afraid that even the Great Change Realm's Realm Lord Yin Xing might not be his match. This person is terrifyingly powerful. If no third step experts appear, I don't know who can be his match. Mu Zuoxiao was also stunned. After a while, he said, I think he looks very ordinary and didn't show any strong aspects. After I lost the alchemy battle with him, I only lost 100 primordial chaos Tao fruits and 5 supreme grade divine spirit meridians to him. He didn't take anything else from me. How could he? Ao Beijiang took a deep breath. Zuoxiao, remember what I said. Regardless of whether you can find a true alchemy Tao expert in the 5-realm elixir competition, don't ever look for him again. You can't let him know the location of the 5 great realms. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble in the future. This person's strength cannot be judged by common sense. Mu Zuoxiao nodded his head solemnly. I got it, Master. What's his main divine power? Ao Beijiang looked up at the void in the distance and said word by word, I didn't see his divine power. He only used one saber move to deal with me. Remember, it was just one saber move. That saber move stirred up the nomological Tao runes of the entire heaven and earth. There was only death in my eyes. Mu Zuoxiao fell silent. How strong was this expert who could seriously injure his Tao integration master with one saber move? He didn't even dare mention revenge. This showed that the person who had seriously injured his master had not been hurt at all. After a while, Ao Beijiang said, I received the message you sent me. You said that an alchemy saint who refined the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill with 9 elemental nomological Tao runes appeared. Furthermore, these 9 elemental laws include spatial and time elemental laws. Is that person in the underground abyss? Mu Zuoxiao nodded his head. Yes. After he entered the underground abyss, there was no more news of him. Later on, Lu Fangzhen should have come to look for him, but I don't think he found him. Given his Tao birth cultivation level, I'm afraid he wouldn't have a chance to survive in the underground abyss. Ao Beijiang snorted. Not necessarily. Follow me into the underground abyss. If you can't find him, go find Lu Fangzhen immediately. Also, show me that elixir pill. A person who could refine the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill with 9 elemental nomological Tao runes definitely wasn't an ordinary alchemy saint. Especially the Tao runes of the spatial and time laws. How could someone without a powerful inheritance achieve such a feat? The most powerful cultivation technique inheritance was said to be the cultivation technique inheritance of a good fortune treasure. All the cultivation technique inheritances of good fortune treasures had the ability to deduce the laws of the entire world. Master, I heard that Lu Fangzhen was killed. Mu Zuoxiao took out a heaven and earth epiphyllum pill and handed it to Ao Beijiang. Chapter 1086. Lu Fangzhen was killed. Who killed him? Ao Beijiang's eyes narrowed and he immediately asked with a frown. Mu Zuoxiao looked behind him, it was the Tao monarch Lei Xiuran of the Luying Tao court. I don't know why he killed Lu Fangzhen, but it angered the Luying Tao court. The armies of the 2 Tao courts even confronted each other. If not for the loosening of the seal on the underground abyss, I'm afraid that the 2 Tao courts would have fought each other. Lei Xiuran. Ao Beijiang's eyes revealed a trace of killing intent, but this trace of killing intent quickly disappeared. Lei Xiuran wasn't someone that he, Ao Beijiang, could kill. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't dare to go against a Tao court. Ao Beijiang didn't say anything. Instead, he took out the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill and swallowed it. A moment later, his eyes flashed with a hint of surprise and he muttered, it's actually the fusion of the Grand Tao into the Pill Tao, so powerful. A pill master who could fuse the Pill Tao into the Grand Tao, if he said that he didn't have a top-grade Grand Tao cultivation method, only a ghost would believe it. Let's go in first. Ao Beijiang said. He raised his hand and directly tore open the altar seal in front of him. Then, he flashed inside. Knowing that Ning Qing most likely had a top-grade treasure, how could Ao Beijiang hold back? This top-grade treasure might even be a good fortune treasure. Ning Qing looked at the group of fallen cultivators and thought to himself that these powerhouses were truly ruthless. So many people entered the underground abyss, yet they sealed it just like that. It was not hard to imagine that the cultivators who were sealed inside would only have a path of death. At this time, not to mention helping others, he couldn't even protect himself. Only by taking advantage of the fact that the seal hadn't completely closed and there was still a little bit of law that he could use to escape. As soon as this thought appeared, Ning Qing took out the talisman that Nianyan had given him. Nianyan had given him this talisman so that he could activate it to escape if he met Ao Beijiang. Now that he hadn't met Ao Beijiang, he had no choice but to use this talisman. The underground abyss was indeed sealed, and the surrounding spatial laws were also faintly discernible. After Ning Qing brought out the talisman, he stimulated his spiritual consciousness to activate it. The surface of the talisman emitted rays of white light. Unfortunately, these rays of white light were bound by an invisible spatial force. They were unable to break out of this seal. Ning Qing sighed. From the looks of it, Nianyan's talisman crafting skills had not reached the point where she could ignore top-grade seals. It was unrealistic to rely on this talisman to escape. Since the talisman couldn't escape, he had to keep it safe. Just as Ning Cheng was about to retract the spiritual consciousness and thoughts that stimulated the talisman, he felt the laws of space around him loosen. Ning Cheng felt overjoyed in his heart. At this moment, if he did not seize this moment, then he would never be able to escape. At this time, Ning Cheng not only did not take back his stimulated spiritual consciousness, but rather crazily poured it into the talisman. The light surrounding the talisman grew even brighter, and as the surrounding spatial shackles loosened, it instantly wrapped around Ning Cheng and disappeared from the underground abyss. There's actually such a top-grade breaking boundary talisman. Ao Beijiang's spiritual consciousness was powerful. He immediately saw the spatial light sweeping away Ning Cheng and raised his hand to record it. This person took advantage of the moment when we came in to loosen the seal and used a talisman to escape. This opportunity was simply too good. Mu Zuoxiao praised. Because even if it was him, he was unable to grasp such a fleeting opportunity. Once this opportunity passed, no one would be able to escape unless they obtained permission from their master. Ao Beijiang shook his head and said, "It's not that this person seized a good opportunity, but that he had already activated the escape talisman. Coincidentally, I loosened the seal and allowed him to escape using the spatial shackles." Zuoxiao, do you know this person? Is it that pill master? Ao Beijiang waved his hand, and the image of Ning Cheng before he left appeared in front of him. Looking at Ning Cheng surrounded by the escaping light, Mu Zuoxiao shook his head. This person looks like a prodigal son. He should be a rogue cultivator, not that Ning Cheng. Hearing that it wasn't Ning Cheng, Ao Beijiang felt relieved. With another wave of his hand, the emerging image disappeared without a trace. If it were face to face, even if Ning Cheng disguised himself as a rogue cultivator, he wouldn't be able to escape Mu Zuoxiao's eyes. But now it was just an image, and Ning Cheng's Dao charm couldn't be seen in the image. Therefore, even if Mu Zuoxiao's eyes were sharp, he wouldn't be able to recognize Ning Cheng. The talisman activated, and the escaping light completely wrapped around Ning Cheng. Although Ning Cheng didn't lose consciousness, he couldn't even release his spiritual consciousness to check his surroundings. Bang! With a muffled sound accompanied by pain, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could finally sense his surroundings. He found himself standing in the endless void, and a huge meteorite had been smashed to pieces by him. Ning Cheng shook his head. Fortunately, he was a body-forging cultivator. Otherwise, this attack would have been more than enough to deal with. Although the talisman Nianyan refined was strong, it didn't seem to be perfect. In this void, apart from meteorites, there were also all kinds of turbulence. Ning Cheng didn't know if this place was outside the Grand Change realm or not. Moreover, he didn't have any direction to refer to, so he could only bring out the Starry Sky Wheel. Ning Cheng had already refined the Starry Sky Wheel. Although it didn't have any markings in some interfaces, it had many positional markers in the void. To Ning Cheng's disappointment, the Starry Sky Wheel didn't have any markings in this area. The Starry Sky Wheel's positional display screen showed nothing but darkness. Ning Cheng simply called out Chasing Bull to control the Starry Sky Wheel. He then took out the cosmic grass and continued studying it. This cosmic grass did not belong to him, but to Lu Dongzi. At that time, because he hadn't finished reading it, he missed the opportunity to return it to Lu Dongzi. This time, he wanted to finish reading it as soon as possible and then find a way to return it to Lu Dongzi. Half a year passed by quickly, and Ning Cheng had already finished reading all the cosmic grass and trees. Now, he started reading the insights left behind by Nianyan on the Tao of alchemy and array formations. Ning Qing didn't care much about Nyenyen's Tao of alchemy. However, Nyenyen's insights on array formations had allowed him to understand many concepts that he had never seen before. The various array formations and settings made Ning Qing feel as if he had walked into another palace. The more Ning Qing read, the more he admired Nyenyen. How many ancient books did she read to obtain such powerful knowledge on the Tao of array formations? For Ning Qing, he was now standing on Nyenyen's shoulder. From the insights on the Tao of array formations that Nyenyen gave him, Ning Qing understood why Nyenyen could easily use the teleportation array formation. If Chasing Bull hadn't woken Ning Qing up, Ning Qing didn't know when he would have raised his head from the insights on array formations. "Master, our starry sky wheel found a new location." Chasing Bull's surprised voice came over. Master had told it that as long as it found a new location, it would be a great contribution. When Ning Qing heard that Chasing Bull had found a new location, he quickly put away the book in his hand and flashed to Chasing Bull's side. Sure enough, he found a bright spot on the starry sky wheel's positional disk. "Hurry up." Although Ning Qing had gained a lot in the past 6 months, he didn't waste any time. It would be a good thing to find the right location earlier. Unfortunately, there were no other signs around this bright spot. This bright spot was a separate location in the void. Chasing Bull drove the starry sky wheel with all its might. Just a few hours later, Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness found this star. This was a void city, and it looked like there were a lot of people coming and going. This kind of city was similar to the Five Realms Void City, and there were many of them in the void. Most of them were built on small planets. The lifespan of a void city depended on how long the small planet could exist. Since this void city could be recorded by the starry sky wheel, it most likely existed for a long time. An hour later, Ning Qing walked into this void city. Although Chasing Bull had performed a meritorious deed, Ning Qing didn't meet its request to come out for a stroll, considering its unusual origin. Outside the void city's defense array, there were 4 dim words floating: Duo T Void City. To enter the Duo T Void City, one had to pay 10,000 spirit crystals, which was nothing for people who could enter the void. After walking into the Duo T Void City, Ning Qing realized how rundown this place was. Although it was also a void city, the Duo T Void City couldn't be compared to the Five Realms Void City at all. The Five Realms Void City far surpassed the Duo T Void City in terms of planning and prosperity. In the Duo T Void City, Ning Qing only saw messy streets and messy cave abode buildings. There were only a few makeshift markets. Ning Qing didn't even see a few formal merchant houses. Most of the cultivators in the Void City were Tao sculpting sacred emperors and eternal starry sky emperors. Ning Qing, who was at the early stage Tao transformation realm, was considered powerful. No one would care about an early-stage Tao transformation realm cultivator in the Duo T Void City. There weren't many Tao transformation realm cultivators in the Duo T Void City, but there were still some. Occasionally, some primordial Tao sacred emperors would come. Ning Qing walked into a makeshift market. Most of the things sold in the makeshift market were void materials. Ning Qing wasn't interested in these things at all. He bought a bottle of heart-refining water from a stall and asked casually, "Excuse me, where should I go to get information and buy a void map?" The stall owner enthusiastically introduced, "Many people like to come to the Duo T Void City, not because of how good it is, but because of the Duo T Void Hall. The Duo T Void Hall is just ahead. There are many information for you to choose from, and you can also buy a void map from there." Ning Qing thanked the stall owner and walked out of the makeshift market. Just as the stall owner had said, the Duo T Void Hall was too eye-catching. Due to the obstruction of restrictions, Ning Qing hadn't seen it when he first came in. A void spaceship floated outside the Duo T Void Hall, looking majestic. Ning Qing estimated that this hall was the most luxurious building in the Duo T Void City. After paying another 10,000 spirit crystals and entering the Duo T Void Hall, Ning Qing was immediately attracted by the huge void display screen in the middle of the hall. It was just like when he had gone to the Grand Essence Ruins quest hall. All kinds of information had appeared on the void display screen. Ning Qing immediately saw the information about heading to the Five Realms Void City. Ning Qing had originally guessed that he should be at the periphery of the Great Change Realm, but he hadn't seen any information about heading to the Great Change Realm. He guessed that there was no way to go to the Great Change Realm directly from the Duo T Void City. Chapter 1087. To go to the Five Realms Void City, one needed to take a teleportation array from the Multitude Void to another Void City, the Cyan Light Void City. From there, one could take another teleportation array from the Cyan Light Void City to the Five Realms Void City. Ning Qing didn't continue to look at anything else. He wasn't interested in anything else at all. He wanted to return to the Grand Essence Realm as soon as possible and then find a way to go to the Four Grand Starry Skies. Now that he had Ninian's Array Dao Insight Scroll, he believed that he should be able to install the teleportation arrays to the Four Grand Starry Skies. Just as Ning Qing turned around, he heard someone speak up. That's the Nirvana Heart. It can upgrade a top-grade immortal flame to a spirit flame. After going to the Grand Change Realm, Ning Qing had long since learned that top-grade immortal flames were equivalent to top-grade starry sky flames. He smiled in his heart. The Nirvana Heart was indeed a good thing. His celestial river flame had evolved from the Nirvana Heart. Now that his nameless flame was also a spirit-grade flame, he didn't care about the Nirvana Heart. Do you know how much the Nirvana Heart sold for? Someone next to him asked. The cultivator who spoke about the Nirvana Heart gave a hollow laugh. I only heard that it sold for a sky-high price. As for how much, I don't know. The Nirvana Heart is nothing. I saw the True Yang Heart not long ago. When Ning Qing heard this sentence, he immediately stopped in his tracks. After cultivating in the starry skies for so many years, he was no longer an ignorant ordinary starry sky cultivator. The True Yang Heart was what he wanted the most. The True Yang Heart, Bright Light Heart and Nirvana Heart were all things that could upgrade a flame. The Nirvana Heart could only upgrade a flame to a spirit-grade flame, while the True Yang Heart and Bright Light Heart were the sun and moon twin cores of a sacred flame. The True Yang Heart was also called the Sun Heart, while the Bright Light Heart was also called the Moon Heart. These two materials were extremely precious, and each was an unparalleled treasure. Because these two materials could upgrade a spirit flame to a sacred flame. Ning Qing couldn't melt the Nirvana Spear to refine the most powerful offensive weapon because he didn't have enough flames. Now that he heard someone talk about the True Yang Heart, how could he just walk away? Unfortunately, the others clearly did not take the words of the cultivator who had seen the heart of True Yang seriously. They did not even ask about it before changing the topic and began to discuss where they could obtain more cultivation resources in the void. Ning Qing waited on the side for a long time, but these people did not mention the True Yang Heart again. After a while, two of the chatting people dispersed. The other two also stopped talking and stared at the information on the big screen. Ning Qing could only walk over and clasp his fists towards the Tao Molding Divine Emperor. Tao friend, can I have a word with you? This Tao Molding Divine Emperor immediately felt that Ning Qing was far stronger than him. He didn't dare to refuse and quickly said, of course, what do you want to ask? Ning Qing smiled and pointed to a resting area not far from them that provided spiritual tea and spoke, let's go over there and drink a cup of spiritual tea, it's my treat. Okay. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor nodded. After ordering 2 cups of top-grade spiritual tea, Ning Qing asked with an inquiring tone, I just heard this Tao friend say that you have seen the True Yang Heart. I wonder if Tao friend can introduce it to me. Hearing Ning Qing ask about the True Yang Heart, the Tao Molding Divine Emperor finally breathed a sigh of relief and said awkwardly, I haven't seen the True Yang Heart, what I said just now was, although the Tao Molding Divine Emperor didn't continue, Ning Qing already understood what was going on. This guy probably cared too much about his face, so he bragged about seeing the True Yang Heart. A few people familiar with him knew that he cared too much about his face, so they didn't bother asking. Ning Cheng was a bit speechless, letting him rejoice in vain. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, the Tao molding divine emperor felt a bit uneasy. Bragging wasn't against the law, but what if he met a guy with a weird temper? Then where did you hear about the true young heart? Ning Cheng asked again. Bragging was fine, but bragging required some clues. This guy bragged that he had seen the true young heart, so he must have heard of this material before. The Tao molding divine emperor didn't hide it. A few years ago, I heard two Tao transformation divine emperors talking in a rest stop. They said that a true young heart appeared in Jiaoliang. A few years ago, when Ning Cheng heard this, he felt a bit disappointed. Something like the true young heart was so precious. No matter who got it, they would use it immediately. How could they keep it until now? Do you know where Jiaoliang is? Even though the hope was slim, Ning Cheng still wanted to go and see. The Tao molding divine emperor looked awkward again. I really don't know. I only heard about it at the time and didn't take it to heart. Ning Cheng felt that if he only had Tao molding divine emperor now and didn't have a god-grade flame, he probably would have just heard about it. Seeing Ning Cheng's disappointment, the Tao molding divine emperor said, if Tao friend wants to know where Jiaoliang is, it's very simple. Just post a mission here. The Void Palace can post missions. Your mission to find a place won't be too expensive. Many thanks to this Tao friend. Ning Cheng stood up and thanked him, while in his heart he had the idea of issuing a quest. Regardless of whether he would go to Jiaoliang or not, it wouldn't be wrong to ask where it was. The Void Palace's mission posting was a bit different from other places. As long as you paid a sum of spirit crystals to the Void Palace would automatically post the mission for you. The length of the mission depended on the spirit crystals you paid. Once someone accepted the mission, the person who accepted the mission would also have to give a portion of the spirit crystals to the Void Palace. If the Void Palace removed the mission, the person who accepted the mission would take the initiative to find the person who posted the mission. The reward for the mission would be given directly by the person who posted the mission to the cultivator who accepted the mission. If the completion of the mission wasn't satisfactory and someone else didn't find the person who posted the mission, the Void Palace wouldn't care. Ning Cheng only waited for a day in a rundown rest stop in the Void City before someone came looking for him. The person who came to find Ning Cheng was an old man with an ancient face. He didn't even enter Ning Cheng's room. He just took out a jade slip and said to Ning Cheng, the location of Jiaoliang you want is in this jade slip. 100,000 high-grade spirit crystals. The price was reasonable. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate to take out 100,000 high-grade spirit crystals and hand it to the old man. After the old man handed the jade slip to Ning Cheng, he didn't ask if Ning Cheng was satisfied. He turned around and left, disappearing from the rest stop in a few breaths. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the jade slip. The jade slip recorded very simple information. Jiaoliang wasn't a void city but a mountain, a void mountain. Starting from the void city of Duo-Ti, one had to teleport to dozens of void cities in a row. Then, one could buy a jade slip with the location of Jiaoliang Mountain at the last immortal falling boat void city. Moreover, these dozens of void cities weren't connected. Sometimes, one would have to fly for several months to reach another void city after leaving one void city. Although the old man's jade slip said that one wouldn't get lost as long as one bought a map jade slip in every void city, Ning Cheng was still speechless by the route. Even if the old man didn't lie to him, how many years would it take to walk across dozens of void cities? What would be the use of finding Jiaoliang Mountain after so many years? Thinking of Jiaoliang Mountain, Ning Cheng's heart suddenly moved. Since it wasn't the void city, it meant that the true young heart wasn't traded or sold but was in Jiaoliang Mountain. What if it was still there after he reached Jiaoliang Mountain? Yes, what if it was still there? Ning Cheng clenched the jade slip in his hand. Opportunity, opportunity. If one didn't go, the opportunity would be gone. He wasn't sure if the true Yang heart would still be there after he went to Jiaoliang Mountain. However, one thing was for sure. If he didn't go, he definitely wouldn't have the true Yang heart. So be it. Cultivation had no concept of time. If he wanted to become stronger, he would have to constantly search for opportunities. In the Great Change Realm, Lu Fangzhen had almost killed him. Not to mention Lu Fangzhen, even the seal in the underground abyss had almost sealed him. If he didn't do everything he could to improve his strength, who knew what other quakes he would encounter? Maybe they would become other quakes. As long as his strength didn't improve, he wouldn't have a chance. Once he made up his mind, Ning Qing didn't delay for even a minute. He directly purchased the jade slip and teleported away from Duo-T Void City. Ning Qing didn't know that Ao Beijiang had almost blocked his path. Otherwise, he would have become even more eager to become stronger. 5 months later, the starry sky wheel shuttled through the void like a shadow. By this time, Ning Qing had already passed through 6 void cities. While Chasing Bull controlled the starry sky wheel, Ning Qing continued to study array formations. The Law Dao charm and heaven and earth resources he needed for cultivation were too terrifying. With his current strength at the early stage Dao transformation realm, it was almost impossible to directly raise his cultivation to the middle stage Dao transformation realm on the starry sky wheel. Therefore, Ning Qing chose to study the Dao of array formations. 3 years later, Ning Qing passed through 17 void cities, and Yan Ji also advanced to the full circle eternal realm. After advancing to the full circle eternal realm, Yan Ji no longer stayed in the mysterious yellow bead but came to the starry sky wheel to comprehend the Dao sculpting realm in the void. It was extremely difficult for others to comprehend the Dao sculpting realm. Not only could Yan Ji cultivate in the mysterious yellow origin bead, but her foundation also improved several times. Coupled with Ning Cheng's pile of Dao pills and Dao fruits, it would be difficult for her not to advance to the Dao sculpting realm. After 2 years in the starry sky wheel, Yan Ji successfully sculpted her Dao and became a Dao sculpting holy emperor. Ning Cheng continued to deduce array formations. But after Yan Ji reached the Dao sculpting realm, she returned to the mysterious yellow bead for secluded cultivation. She knew that the stronger she became, the more help she could provide to Ning Cheng. Gotcha! Ning Cheng was too excited that he crushed an array flag. However, he didn't care about it and even stood up in surprise. After 7 years of deduction, coupled with Nyenyen's insights on the Tao of array formations, he finally surpassed the middle-level Spirit Array Master and became a top-grade Spirit Array Master. With his current strength, he might not be able to set up a planar teleportation array. But Ning Qing felt sure that he could restore the teleportation array at the bottom of the Grand Essence seabed. Where are we? Ning Qing felt refreshed as he put away his things and asked. Master, we'll reach the Luo-E Heaven Void City in half a month. Chasing Bull quickly replied. Wasn't the Luo-E Heaven Void City a stop in front of the Immortal Falling Boat Void City? After arriving at the Immortal Falling Boat Void City, he only needed to purchase a jade strip with a map to the Jiaoliang Mountain. Good job. Ning Qing felt even happier and praised Chasing Bull for the first time. Chapter 1088. Ning Qing had rushed all the way from Duo-T Void City, passing through 20 to 30 void cities and teleportation stations along the way. Under normal circumstances, he rarely went out for a stroll. He was always on his way. Now that his attainments in the Tao of Arrays had reached the level of a peak-level Spirit Array Master, coupled with the fact that he was getting closer to the Jiaoliang Mountain, Ning Qing decided to slow down a bit. Ning Qing didn't take over the control of the Starry Sky Wheel. Instead, he stood on the deck of the Starry Sky Wheel and tried to sense the laws of the void. The laws of the void were very special. In some places, the laws were stronger and clearer than the laws of other planes, while in other places, they were very faint. His understanding of the void law was beneficial to his law-breaking sacred art. Chasing Bull, do you often have people chasing you along the way? Ning Qing suddenly asked. Right now, he was just trying to understand the laws and had yet to deduce any array formations. As such, once an airship chased after them, he would immediately discover it. When he asked this question, he had already sensed that there were spaceships chasing after him. Chasing Bull spoke up, "Master, don't worry. Our airship is much faster than those minions. Along the way, I've encountered a lot of spaceships chasing after us, but I've swept them all away." Ning Qing naturally didn't worry about it. With his current strength and the starry sky wheel, even if Man Huishan came, he wouldn't have to worry about him catching up to him. A day later, Ning Qing realized that the airship chasing after him was not any slower than the starry sky wheel. Unless he controlled the starry sky wheel himself, even if Chasing Bull controlled it, it could only maintain a slight advantage. Chasing Bull's strength was still too low, and the starry sky wheel was not Chasing Bull's weapon. As such, Chasing Bull couldn't exert its full speed. "Master, this guy's speed isn't bad. After a day, I've only managed to shake him off a little. I'll speed up and throw him off later." Although Chasing Bull couldn't use its spiritual consciousness to scan the airship chasing after it, it could clearly see it through the starry sky wheel's positional disk. Although the airship behind it wasn't slow, Chasing Bull didn't care about it. Along the way, it encountered flying artifacts that were faster than the spaceship chasing after it, but it didn't ask for its master's help and just threw them away. Now that this guy was chasing after it, it just needed to put in a little more effort and waste some divine crystals. Ning Qing nodded. Although the airship behind them was fast, with Chasing Bull's ability, they could easily shake it off. At this moment, the spacecraft behind them suddenly accelerated, its speed even more than double that of the previous one. In just a short time, even Chasing Bull's spiritual consciousness could see the airship behind it clearly. This short-distance acceleration was something that the cultivator had to rely on his cultivation base to achieve. Not only would it cause great damage to the flying-type magic treasure, it could not be sustained for long. Chasing Bull had controlled the starry sky wheel for a longer time than Ning Qing. Therefore, it had a lot of experience in controlling it. Therefore, even when the airship behind it accelerated, it didn't panic. Chasing Bull had just increased the speed of the starry sky wheel when a greeting voice came from the airship behind it. "Dao friend in front, I wonder if this Dao friend is heading to the Luo-E Heaven Void City. If you're heading to the Luo-E Heaven Void City, we can meet up." Chasing Bull ignored it and continued to speed up. Ning Qing did not stop Chasing Bull. He also knew that this place was only one day away from the Luo-E Heaven Void City. Even if Chasing Bull sped up, it would most likely encounter the people behind it in the Luo-E Heaven Void City. However, Ning Qing did not care much about it. He could sense that the cultivation of the person chasing him had not reached the second step. Given his current strength, could there still be a Dao transformation cultivator who could defeat him? One day later, Ning Qing put away the starry sky wheel and let Chasing Bull go to the mysterious yellow bead. Then, he entered the Luo-E Heaven Void City alone. The Luo-E Heaven Void City was not smaller than the Five Realms Void City, and the Dao charm of the defensive array outside the Void City was also extremely powerful. Ning Qing was now a top-notch spirit array master and no longer knew nothing about this kind of defensive array. As long as he had time, he could even break this void defensive array. After entering the Void City, Ning Qing immediately bought a map jade strip and went directly to the Luo-E Heaven Void City's teleportation array. He wanted to teleport to the Immortal Falling Boat Void City and then head to the Jiaoliang Mountain from the Immortal Falling Boat Void City. The teleportation array to the Immortal Falling Boat Void City opens once every 2 days. The price is 1 million spirit crystals. The teleportation ends today. If you want to go to the Immortal Falling Boat Void City, you will have to wait until tomorrow. Ning Qing felt helpless after hearing the teleportation array's manager's words. A teleportation array that opened once every 2 days was not bad. Along the way, he had even seen teleportation arrays that opened once every half a month. Since he had to wait in the Luo-E Heaven Void City for a day, Ning Qing decided to find a rest stop first. It was best to change his appearance again. Even if he did not fear the guy chasing after him, it was better to avoid trouble. "Dao friend, what a coincidence." A familiar voice came over. Ning Qing turned around and saw a young man in a light brown robe with a smile on his face. What impressed Ning Qing the most was that this man had a red mark on his forehead. Ning Qing immediately knew who this person was. It should be the guy who had chased after his Starry Sky Wheel. This guy was clearly half a day away from the Starry Sky Wheel, but he had arrived here so quickly. The only explanation was that the other party had set up a hidden teleportation platform in the void outside the Luo-E Heaven Void City. This reminded Ning Qing of Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai had a habit of doing things, which was to set up some routes of retreat and advance in advance. Ning Qing had set up a teleportation platform in advance, but Duan Gantai had done it more thoroughly than him. Now, he met this guy with a red mark on his forehead. Fortunately, this guy's cultivation level was similar to his. Even if he was strong, there was a limit to his strength. He should be at the middle stage Dao transformation realm. As long as it was not a Dao Essence Divine Emperor or Primordial Chaos Divine Emperor, Ning Qing did not care much about a middle stage Dao transformation realm cultivator. "Do you know me?" Ning Qing frowned slightly and asked deliberately. The young man spoke with sincerity, "This is indeed the first time we've met. I chased after this Dao friend for a while on my way to the Luo-E Heaven Void City. Maybe my actions have caused this Dao friend to misunderstand, so I apologize here. I'm Mang Yong, and I come from a boundary with incomplete laws." "So it's Dao friend Mang. My name is Ning Qing, and I also come from a boundary with incomplete laws." Ning Qing also cupped his fists and introduced himself. Although Mang Yong felt a little inexplicable when he chased after the Starry Sky Wheel, he still acted politely when they met. Ning Qing guessed that Mang Yong had chased after him desperately for the Starry Sky Wheel. The Starry Sky Wheel was Ning Qing's transportation weapon. Even if Mang Yong put a better treasure in front of him, he would not exchange it. "Dao friend Ning, can we find a rest stop and talk over tea?" Mang Yong's tone turned even more gentle, with an irresistible cordiality. Ning Qing smiled, "Of course, Dao friend Mang, please." Mang Yong could clearly recognize Ning Qing from such a distance in the void. Moreover, Mang Yong's move was much stronger than Ning Qing's. It wouldn't be a bad thing to talk to such a capable fellow. After an incense stick worth of time, Ning Qing and Mang Yong sat in the largest rest stop in the Luo-E Heaven Void City. After ordering 2 pots of spiritual tea, Mang Yong activated the restrictions and asked, "I wonder which boundary Dao friend Ning comes from. This fellow has been in the void for so long. Isn't he a bit too immature?" Ning Qing felt a little unhappy in his heart. Asking him which boundary he came from, was this a household survey? Unexpectedly, Mang Yong didn't wait for Ning Qing to answer before speaking up, "I came to the vast void by chance. Only then did I realize that I was a frog in a well. The place I came from, there was only one void city. I didn't even use other names to distinguish it. Now that I've come to such a vast universe, I realized that there are void cities everywhere in the endless void. It's just that you don't know about it." Ning Qing agreed with this statement. He had experienced too many void cities all the way from the Duo-T Void City. From this, it could be seen that not only were there many cultivators in the void, but there were also many cultivators in the void. Mang Yong was obviously very talkative. Not only did he talk about his experiences in the void over the years, but he also talked about the void cities he had been to and the various things he had seen. Even for Luo-E Heaven Void City, it wasn't his first time here. To make it more convenient for him to come here in the future, he had even set up a teleportation platform far away from Luo-E Heaven Void City. Mang Yong took the initiative to talk about his experiences and origins. He didn't even hide the matter about the teleportation platform. Ning Qing immediately felt that his previous unhappiness had disappeared. It was like a person who wanted to ask about your secrets, but before you could say anything, that person had already told you about them. Ning Qing listened to Mang Yong's narration with a smile and didn't interrupt. Even when Mang Yong talked about his origins and experiences, Ning Qing didn't say where he came from. Ning Qing had been in the void for many years, so he naturally knew that this was Mang Yong's way of speaking. This way of talking to strangers and telling them everything first could show one's straightforwardness and honesty, reducing the other party's vigilance. Although Ning Qing knew about it, Mang Yong's way of speaking did give Ning Qing a good impression of Mang Yong. However, this didn't mean that he had to tell Mang Yong about his origins. What's more, Mang Yong had said so much, but he didn't say which realm he came from. When Mang Yong finished lamenting, Ning Qing also sighed. He took a sip of spirit tea and said, "Yeah, it's really hard for us rogue cultivators in the void. By the way, why is Dao friend Mang looking for me?" Mang Yong said with an awkward expression, "Dao friend Ning, I won't hide it from you. I saw that your airship is amazing, and I'm going to do something soon. I happen to lack a top-grade flight-type weapon." At this point, Mang Yong seemed to be afraid that Ning Qing would misunderstand and quickly explained, "Dao friend Ning, rest assured. I also know that such a flight-type weapon should be a treasure of Dao friend Ning. I'm willing to exchange it with something of higher value. As for the specifics, Dao friend Ning can check it yourself. I've removed the restrictions." After saying that, Mang Yong didn't seem to care about Ning Qing's tricks. He directly took out a pitch-black bottle and placed it in front of Ning Qing. In addition to that, he also took out a jade box and placed it next to the bottle. Ning Qing looked at these two things in doubt. He couldn't help but wonder, why did this Mang Yong feel that he could trade for his starry sky wheel? Moreover, how could one not ask for the other party's opinion before handing over their things to the other party and even removing all the restrictions? There could only be two reasons for Mang Yong to do this. Combined with the way he spoke before, Ning Qing understood that he was an extremely sincere person. Moreover, this approach was to treat people with sincerity. The other possibility was that he had absolute confidence in himself and believed that his strength far surpassed Ning Qing's. As such, he wasn't afraid of Ning Qing's craftiness. Chapter 1089. Ning Qing didn't take the big-bottomed bottle in front of him. Instead, his spiritual consciousness fell into the bottle. When Ning Qing felt the aura coming from the bottle, his heart suddenly shook. He was too familiar with this thing, the mysterious yellow origin qi. He had the mysterious yellow bead, so he was naturally no stranger to the mysterious yellow origin qi. At this moment, Ning Qing almost wanted to pinch Mang Yong's neck and ask him if he knew that he had the mysterious yellow bead, so he came to test him. Buying the starry sky wheel was just an excuse. However, Ning Qing felt sure that Mang Yong would never know that he had the mysterious yellow bead. Mang Yong taking out the mysterious yellow qi should just be a coincidence. Is this an origin qi? Why does it look a bit like the legendary mysterious yellow qi? Ning Qing asked in surprise. He saw the mysterious yellow qi vibrating, but in Mang Yong's eyes, it was normal. It would be abnormal if it didn't vibrate after seeing the mysterious yellow qi. Mang Yong smiled and activated the restrictions on the big-bottomed bottle again. Dao friend Ning is very knowledgeable. This is indeed the origin qi, mysterious yellow. A bottle of mysterious yellow qi isn't much, but this big-bottomed bottle of mine can hold any treasure with any law aura. It's not any weaker than the mysterious yellow qi. Ning Qing felt a little speechless. This flattery was too obvious. He had already cultivated to the Dao transformation Holy Emperor realm. If he didn't know about the mysterious yellow qi, then he would have cultivated to the Dao transformation realm in vain. Mang Yong smiled and said, Dao Friend Ning's airship-type artifact is definitely a top-grade artifact. Others might think that this bottle of mysterious yellow qi is enough to buy such an artifact, but I don't think it's enough. Therefore, I would like to ask Dao Friend Ning to take a look at the things in this jade box. Ning Qing secretly thought, did others think that a bottle of mysterious yellow qi was enough to buy his starry sky wheel? Even if someone offered him 10,000 bottles of mysterious yellow qi, he would never sell the starry sky wheel. Although he knew that he wouldn't exchange it for the starry sky wheel, Ning Qing still couldn't hold back his curiosity and picked up the other jade box. The mysterious yellow qi didn't have much value in his opinion, but it was something that everyone dreamed of. How could something that could be placed together with the mysterious yellow qi be simple? Ning Qing opened the jade box, but when Ning Qing saw that there was only a single restriction seal inside, he immediately looked at Mang Yong with some doubts. He could use his spiritual sense to penetrate this restriction, but he didn't plan on exchanging with Mang Yong, as it would be impolite to do so. Mang Yong gestured a few times before stretching out his hand and saying, "Fellow Taoist Ning, please take a look." Mang Yong wasn't worried that Ning Qing wouldn't agree to the deal. Ning Qing had a Dao transformation cultivation base, so he was obviously preparing to advance to the Dao essence realm. Now that he took out the Xianhuang Qi, any cultivator who wanted to become a Dao Essence Divine Emperor couldn't reject it. No matter how good a flying magic treasure was it better than a Dao Essence Divine Emperor? The mysterious yellow origin had proven its Dao essence. Not only was its Dao charm profound, but its potential was also incomparably huge. It was absolutely not something an ordinary Dao fruit could compare to. Plus, once the Dao fruit and the black-yellow origin qi fused together, they would far surpass ordinary Dao essence divine emperors after they reached Dao essence. As Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness swept in, a vast and boundless Dao charm aura rushed over. This Dao charm aura gave him a clear understanding. At this moment, Ning Qing wished he could immediately enter seclusion. Ning Qing's confidence in his great Dao far exceeded that of ordinary sage emperors. In just a few breaths, he regained his calm. Ning Qing then saw a drop of grey water sealed within the jade box's restrictions. It was the first time Ning Qing had seen such a drop of water with such a powerful Dao charm. What kind of water is this? Why is the Dao charm so terrifying? Ning Qing asked in amazement. Mang Yong didn't find it strange that Ning Qing didn't recognize this drop of water. Instead, he felt surprised that Ning Qing calmed down so quickly. Now that Ning Qing asked, he patiently explained, "Dao Friend Ning, this drop of water is called the Questioning Heart water. It belongs to the Xiantian water and is said to be ranked 5th among the 10 Xiantian waters. Not only can it help sage emperors seek their Dao, but it can also refine top-grade primordial chaos Dao pills." Ning Qing nodded to himself. He had a drop of 3,000 weak water. A drop of 3,000 weak water could even conceal the aura of the mysterious yellow bead. Moreover, the Questioning Heart water ranked above the 3,000 weak water, which showed how precious it was. This Mang Yong was quite magnanimous to even take out such a treasure. "Dao Friend Ning, how about I exchange these two things with you? If Brother Ning lacks spirit veins for cultivation, I still have a few here." After Mang Yong sealed the Questioning Heart water's restriction in the jade box, he looked at Ning Qing and asked with a smile. This fellow was truly rich, much richer than him. Ning Qing looked at it for a long time before speaking, "Many thanks for Dao Friend Mang's magnanimity. It's just that my airship-type weapon holds an extraordinary significance to me. I also know that Dao Friend Mang sincerely wants to exchange it for my flight-type weapon. But I like my flight-type weapon too much, so I can't exchange it." Mang Yong felt slightly surprised when he heard Ning Qing's words. He didn't expect that Ning Qing would still refuse to exchange the Starry Sky Wheel even after he took out such a treasure. If he didn't know that it was the Starry Sky Wheel, how could he make such a deal with Ning Qing? A weapon like the Starry Sky Wheel in Ning Qing's hands was simply a reckless waste of natural resources. He started to feel a little anxious. From the moment he started talking to Ning Cheng, through his observations, he could tell that Ning Cheng didn't know that the Starry Sky Wheel had an artifact spirit. In fact, he not only knew that the Starry Sky Wheel had an artifact spirit, but he also knew where the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit was suppressed. It was also because he had seen the artifact spirit of the Starry Sky Wheel that he realized that Ning Cheng's airship-type weapon was the Starry Sky Wheel. Mang Yong's expression remained calm. He nodded to Ning Cheng and spoke with approval, "That's right. If it were one of my weapons that had followed me for many years, I wouldn't be willing to exchange it. If it weren't for the fact that I really need Dao Friend's airship-type weapon to escape this time, I wouldn't have forced you into such a difficult situation." After saying that, Mang Yong hesitated for a while before speaking, "Well, I'll take out another thing. If Dao Friend thinks it's okay, I can use these 3 things to exchange for Dao Friend's airship-type weapon. Of course, the spirit veins are just a bonus." Then Mang Yong patted his glabella, and an item covered with restrictions and his Dao charm aura fell onto the table. He spoke with sincerity, "This is the most precious treasure on me. Every time I want to advance, I use it to gain insights. If it weren't for my life, I would also be the same as Dao Friend Ning. I really wouldn't be willing to take it out." Ning Cheng, on seeing Mang Yong take out the item from his glabella, understood that it definitely wasn't an ordinary item. Ning Cheng immediately understood it the moment it came out. Sure enough, it wasn't an ordinary item, but a fragment of a good fortune treasure. Ning Cheng had seen a fragment of a good fortune treasure when he and Yan Xishuang teamed up to collect the 3,000 weak water. At that time, Ning Cheng hadn't reached Dao confirming realm, so he gave the petal of the good fortune azure lotus to Yan Xishuang. Apart from the previous agreement, Ning Cheng also felt that he already had the mysterious yellow bead. If it were now, and Ning Cheng encountered a good fortune azure lotus fragment with a stranger, he wouldn't have given it up so easily. Even if he had to give up the 3,000 weak water, he wouldn't give up the good fortune azure lotus fragment. Only after reaching Dao confirming realm would one understand how precious a good fortune treasure was. Even if it was just a fragment, the grand Dao charm contained within it was by no means ordinary. Seeing Mang Yong take out a fragment of a good fortune treasure, Ning Cheng almost stood up. Who was this Mang Yong? The things he took out, even a primordial chaos holy emperor wouldn't be able to resist snatching them. Could it be? Ning Cheng couldn't help but wonder if this fellow had deliberately taken out so many treasures to make him feel greedy, so that he could secretly rob them. If the other party really had such thoughts, then this fellow definitely had terrifying strength. However, when Ning Cheng saw Mang Yong's pained and sincere expression, he immediately dispelled this idea. Mang Yong didn't need to do this. If that was the case, he might as well rob him instead. Of course, Ning Cheng couldn't rule out the possibility that this fellow had other thoughts. That is, if Ning Cheng wanted to rob him, he would eventually appear. What is this? Despite the restrictions and seals, I can still feel the vast aura of heaven and earth. Ning Cheng once again asked in surprise. Although the surprise was intentional, the shocked expression on his face was real. No matter who Mang Yong was, he definitely wasn't a simple and honest person. No matter how strong a simple and honest person's luck was, they couldn't obtain so many good things. Mang Yong spoke up with a solemn voice, "When I first got this thing, I couldn't believe it. Later, I learnt that this was a small fragment of a good fortune treasure. I felt a powerful axe intent within it. I'm afraid that this treasure has something to do with an axe-shaped weapon. It's a pity that I didn't get much. I only got such a big piece." Mang Yong's fragment of a good fortune treasure was indeed too small. It was only the size of a chicken. "Dao Friend Ning, please take a look. Remember not to remove the restrictions. Once the restrictions are removed, even if it was just a fragment, it would quickly be noticed by others." Mang Yong pushed the fragment in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng didn't look at it, and directly pushed the fragment back to Mang Yong. "Dao Friend Mang, please put it away first. Mang Yong also understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Even if this thing was sealed by a restriction, if it was not picked up for a long time, it would still be dangerous. After Mang Yong put away the fragment of good fortune treasure, Ning Cheng gave out a sigh. The value of Dao friend Mang's things far exceeds my heirship. It's just that I treasure my heirship like my life. Even if I wanted Dao friend Mang's treasure, I can't trade it. Mang Yong's face showed disappointment, but he quickly hid it. Dao friend Ning, I don't know what kind of treasure do you want in exchange. Ning Cheng thought to himself, if you can get a piece of breath soil, maybe I would really exchange it with you. Ning Cheng would never say this out loud. He just shook his head and didn't speak. Mang Yong estimated that Mang Yong was a very open-minded person. When he saw that Ning Cheng really didn't want to exchange his heirship, he quickly put away his disappointment and returned to normal. He started talking and laughing, as if he had completely forgotten that he couldn't trade for the starry sky wheel. Ning Cheng didn't care about it at first. But after talking with Mang Yong for a while, he started to admire Mang Yong's knowledge and wanted to make friends with him. He had seen too many people since leaving Earth, but he had never seen many of the things Mang Yong talked about. Luo Yi Tian's Void City is a very lively and prosperous void city. The reason why I pass through here is because I use it as a transit station. By the way, Dao friend Ning, I heard that you wanted to go to the immortal falling boat Void City. Mang Yong suddenly asked when he talked about enjoying himself. Ning Cheng knew that Mang Yong happened to hear him asking about the immortal falling boat Void City, so he didn't hide it. Yes, I do want to go to the immortal falling boat Void City. Mang Yong immediately said, Dao friend Ning, do you want to go to the immortal falling boat Void City? Ning Cheng repeated himself. The flowing light 7 absolute flame ranked 1 rank higher than his nameless flame, which meant that this flame was naturally a top-grade supreme treasure. Not only do they have the 7 absolute flowing lights, but I also heard that the heart of true yang was discovered on Mount Jialiang several decades ago. Mang Yong's words had not yet finished when he was interrupted by Ning Cheng's surprised voice. I know about the heart of true yang. It is a treasure that can help a spirit flame evolve into a sacred flame. Who could have such great luck? Jiaoliang Mountain indeed had a true yang heart. It seemed that Dao molding Divine Emperor didn't lie to him. It's been a few decades, I wonder if the true yang heart is still there. When the heart of true yang spread, a large number of cultivators surged towards Mount Jiaoliang. I went there too. In order to compete for the true yang heart, countless people fought each other. My strength was too weak, I couldn't even see the corner of the true yang heart. As for who took the true yang heart, I don't know, Mang Yong said with some regret. Clearly, he also yearned for the true yang heart. Ning Cheng felt great disappointment in his heart. Although he knew that the chances of finding the heart of true yang were slim, he still held a glimmer of hope. Now that Mang Yong talked about the heart of true yang, Ning Cheng knew that he had no hope. It had been a few decades, yet he still had to wait for so many people to snatch it. His luck was simply too good. Brother Ning, the heart of true yang is something difficult for us to obtain. But if Brother Ning is interested in something, we might as well join forces. Mang Yong and Ning Cheng became more and more congenial, and even directly addressed each other as Brother Ning. Ning Cheng cupped his hands and said, Brother Mang, please speak. Mang Yong didn't speak directly, but added a few more soundproofing restrictions. This made Ning Cheng feel very puzzled. Mang Yong had taken out the mysterious yellow origin chi and the good fortune treasure fragment, but he didn't add any more restrictions. Why did he want to add more restrictions now? Mang Yong added more restrictions just as a psychological hint. Seeing Ning Cheng moved, Mang Yong felt very satisfied. His purpose had been achieved. Only by making Ning Cheng feel more precious would Ning Cheng agree to cooperate with him. Although he felt sure that Ning Cheng wasn't his opponent, he did not underestimate Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had the starry sky wheel, so how could he be simple? Cultivators who could roam the void had at least a few tricks up their sleeves. As long as Ning Cheng had the means to escape, even if Mang Yong's strength exceeded Ning Cheng's, he might not be able to stop the other party. After adding more restrictions, Mang Yong spoke up, "Actually, I'm also heading to the Jiaoliang mountain. I asked Brother Ning to purchase an airship for this matter. I'd like to hear the details." Whether Mang Yong spoke the truth or not, Ning Cheng wanted to know what Mang Yong was talking about. Besides, he also wanted to go to the Jiaoliang mountain. Does Brother Ning know how the Jiaoliang mountain came to be? Mang Yong asked a question. Ning Cheng replied, "Isn't it the Void Mountain?" The Void Mountain is a law-based interface hidden within the void. If the laws of heaven and earth are strong, it would exist for a long time. If the laws are weak, I'm afraid that it wouldn't last long in the void before it would fall apart. Mang Yong shook his head, "That's not the case, but the Jiaoliang mountain is different. The Jiaoliang mountain is a world that existed in ancient times, and it hasn't been destroyed much. The Jiaoliang mountain has appeared for some years, but not many people can enter the depths of the Jiaoliang mountain. In the depths of the Jiaoliang mountain, Tao runes are everywhere, and the aura of the universe is majestic. Anyone can feel the true essence of the vast universe there and comprehend the Tao law of the third-step Tao validation." Taoist Mang, do you know a lot about the third-step Tao validation? Ning Cheng asked quickly. Mang Yong chuckled. As far as I know, there are no third-step Tao validation experts in this vast universe. Therefore, even those Tao integration experts might not know about it, let alone me. The reason for this situation is because of the war in the past. After the war, the third-step Tao validation experts became extinct, and even the creation treasures turned into fragments. After so many years, many people want to find the secrets of the third-step Tao validation, but no one has ever succeeded. This time, I'm looking for Brother Ning to cooperate with me to pass through the Jiaoliang mountain. The Jiaoliang mountain was one of the few ancient worlds that still existed after the battle between the third-step Tao validation experts. Moreover, it was a place that remained intact after the battle between the third-step Tao validation experts. This shows how powerful the laws of the Jiaoliang mountain are. As long as you pass through the Jiaoliang mountain, not only can you easily feel the most complete heaven and earth Tao runes, but you can also pick up the relics left behind by the Almighties after the battle. Although Ning Cheng admired Mang Yong's amiability, he did not take Mang Yong's words seriously. "Brother Mang, I don't even know where the second-step Tao validation is, let alone the third-step Tao validation. Besides, with so many experts entering the Jiaoliang mountain, I don't believe that they can't pass through it. Please forgive me for not being able to cooperate with Brother Mang on such a suicidal matter." Mang Yong was not surprised by Ning Cheng's answer. Instead, he said unhurriedly, "It's normal for Brother Ning to be worried. What I want to tell you is that even Tao integration experts can't casually pass through the Jiaoliang mountain. You said that because you don't know the dangers of the Jiaoliang mountain." After taking a deep breath, Mang Yong looked at Ning Cheng seriously. "Taoist Ning, the reason why I want to cooperate with you is that I recognize your flying boat Dharma treasure. Your airship-type weapon is an ancient supreme treasure, the Starry Sky Wheel. Only a treasure like the Starry Sky Wheel can pass through the Jiaoliang mountain." Ning Cheng felt shocked. Mang Yong actually recognized the Starry Sky Wheel. One had to know that Mang Yong wasn't just 1 or 2 points away from the Starry Sky Wheel at that time. Moreover, his Starry Sky Wheel had also changed its shape. So how did Mang Yong recognize it? Mang Yong sincerely looked at Ning Cheng and spoke, "I admit that I did have the idea of taking advantage of you before, but since Brother Ning does not want to sell it, then I am willing to share this benefit with Tao friend Ning." Ning Cheng was just about to ask Mang Yong, "If I came out with the Starry Sky Wheel, what did you come out with?" Mang Yong seemed to know what Ning Cheng was thinking. Without waiting for Ning Cheng to ask, he took the initiative to explain again, the Jiaoliang mountain is filled with spatial tiers and powerful Tao runes. It is very difficult for Tao integration sacred emperors to pass through. Of course, most importantly, the Tao integration stage holy emperors might not know this secret. They wouldn't waste their time on something as boring as passing through the Jiaoliang mountain. Only those who possessed the Tao Eye could pass through the Jiaoliang mountain. However, having Tao Eyes is not enough. You also need to have extremely powerful speed. Therefore, I want to cooperate with Brother Ning. You have Tao Eyes? Ning Cheng was truly shocked this time. Which one of the people with Tao Eyes wasn't an unprecedented genius? He knew that Nianyan had Tao Eyes, but Nianyan's genius couldn't be described as monstrous. Half of the credit for his rapid progress in the array Tao was due to Nianyan. Mang Yong nodded cautiously, yes, I do have Tao Eyes. My Tao Eyes are innate, not a cultivation method that I created myself. After saying that, the red mark on Mang Yong's forehead suddenly shot out a red light, and a surging Tao rune pressed down on him. Ning Cheng almost felt that his domain was about to be penetrated. He quickly strengthened his domain's imposing aura and secretly raised his vigilance against Mang Yong's third eye. However, this Tao rune disappeared in just half a breath. Mang Yong said with a calm expression, if your starry sky wheel and my Tao Eyes combine, we have a 60% chance of passing through the Jiaoliang mountain. If Ning Cheng had only wanted to know Mang Yong's intentions before, then Ning Cheng now truly considered Mang Yong's words seriously. At this time, he also understood why Mang Yong could see his face from such a distance and even recognized the starry sky wheel. It turned out to be because of his innate Tao Eyes. Mang Yong didn't speak and just quietly waited for Ning Cheng's answer. After half an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng asked in a deep voice, Brother Mang, you also know that although my starry sky wheel's speed isn't bad, it can't be called king. Even if a primordial chaos holy emperor chased after me, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to escape. If the Jiaoliang mountain is as Brother Mang said, then I'm afraid that it would be difficult for me to pass through. Mang Yong showed a faint smile, if we go now, it's not that difficult, but 100% impossible. However, I have another thing to tell Brother Ning. Brother Ning can make a decision after listening to it. The Starry Sky Wheel is a top-grade flight-type weapon. Even top-grade spirit artifacts can't approach the Starry Sky Wheel. However, Brother Ning's Starry Sky Wheel has a flaw. Chapter 1091. Flaw. Ning Cheng looked at Mang Yong in doubt. The Starry Sky Wheel was his own. If he had to point out the flaws of the Starry Sky Wheel, then he would have to say that the positional chart on the Starry Sky Wheel's astrolabe was somewhat incomplete. Your Starry Sky Wheel lacks an artifact spirit. Mang Yong spoke without any hurry. Artifact spirit? Ning Cheng's heart suddenly cleared up. No wonder his Starry Sky Wheel astrolabe wasn't as good as he expected. Moreover, its speed also didn't meet Ning Cheng's expectations. But why did he know that his everlasting Blue Thunder City did not have an artifact spirit? But why did he not know that the Starry Sky Wheel did not have an artifact spirit? Why did he need someone to remind him? Many thanks for the reminder, Brother Mang. If not for Mang Yong's reminder, he truly would not have known that the Starry Sky Wheel lacked such an important thing. No, since Mang Yong mentioned the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit, then he must have known the location of the artifact spirit. Moreover, from Mang Yong's tone, Ning Cheng was convinced that Mang Yong really wanted to cooperate with him, otherwise, he would not have brought up the matter of an artifact spirit. I would like to ask Brother Mang to point out the location of the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit. Ning Cheng spoke with a sincere tone. Mang Yong could tell that Ning Cheng's guard had weakened significantly and that he had the intention to cooperate with him. Therefore, he said unhurriedly, I originally planned to go to the Jiaoliang mountain to find 1 or 2 supreme-grade divine spirit meridians. Then, I would find a place to enter seclusion and reach the primordial Tao realm before crossing the Jiaoliang mountain. If Brother Ning joins us, I would have to change my plan slightly. This way, we would have more confidence in crossing the Jiaoliang mountain. Jiaoliang mountain has a supreme grade God spirit vein. Ning Cheng's heart started to heat up again. Back then, he had participated in the 5 realms pill competition because of the wood-attributed top-grade spirit vein. To true experts, one supreme-grade God spiritual vein was worth more than 100 high-grade God spiritual veins. Although he couldn't get his hands on the true Yang heart, he could still find out that the starry sky wheel had an artifact spirit. It was not a loss for him. If he could obtain 1 or 2 supreme-grade God spiritual veins, it would be enough for this trip. As for Mang Yong not giving a direct answer to the starry sky wheel's artifact spirit, Ning Cheng did not feel anxious about it. If it were him, he wouldn't reveal such valuable information so easily. If Mang Yong wanted to cooperate with him, he would definitely use this information as a condition. Of course. Not only does the Jiaoliang mountain have supreme-grade God spirit veins, but there are also quite a number of them. I heard that a black clay canyon appeared in the Jiaoliang mountain recently, and there are many peak-grade God spiritual veins there. Of course, whether or not one could obtain it depended on one's own ability. My cultivation technique is special and cultivating with high-grade God spiritual meridians is extremely slow. This time, we'll work together to get supreme-grade divine spirit meridians. After that, we'll make the best use of our time to break through to the primordial Tao. Once you reach the second step, I will immediately take you to find the starry sky wheel's artifact spirit. Once we find the artifact spirit, we will come back and cross the Jiaoliang mountain together. Mang Yong's plan was very clear. He also considered that their cultivation levels were too weak. It would be best for them to traverse the Jiaoliang mountain after confirming their Tao primordial Tao. However, Ning Cheng understood many things from Mang Yong's words. First, if Mang Yong wanted to tell him the location of the starry sky wheel's artifact spirit, then he would have to help Mang Yong snatch the top-grade spirit vein. Second, if he, Ning Cheng, fell in the process of snatching the top-grade spirit veins, then everything on him would naturally go to Mang Yong. Third, Mang Yong's cultivation technique was definitely not ordinary. Just like him, using ordinary resources to cultivate was simply not suitable. From this, it could be seen that Mang Yong was indeed an expert. Also, Mang Yong had said that the two of them would break through to the primordial Tao together, so he must have thought that he would be the first one to advance to the primordial Tao. If Mang Yong really advanced to the primordial Tao Sacred Emperor realm first, then Ning Cheng would not be able to control whether or not he would take Ning Cheng to find the artifact spirit. Despite understanding Mang Yong's meaning, Ning Cheng still smiled and said, "This plan is very good. I agree." Mang Yong was confident, but so was Ning Cheng. Mang Yong might be at the mid-stage Tao transformation, but Ning Cheng was only at the early-stage Tao transformation. Who would advance first would most likely not be decided by their cultivation levels. Upon hearing that Ning Cheng had agreed to his suggestion without much consideration, Mang Yong was overjoyed. He stood up and exchanged communication pearls with Ning Cheng. The immortal falling boat Void City was indeed tailor-made for the Jiaoliang mountain. After entering the immortal falling boat Void City, Ning Cheng finally understood what it meant to say that every inch of land was worth its weight in gold. Fortunately, Ning Cheng and Mang Yong did not intend to stay in the immortal falling boat Void City. Otherwise, Ning Cheng suspected that they would not even be able to find a place to stay. Some cultivators who obtain treasures from the Jiaoliang mountain would sell what they don't need to the immortal falling boat Void City. This is because the Jiaoliang mountain is not suitable for opening a cave abode for cultivation. These people are unwilling to give up the Jiaoliang mountain, so they can only live in the immortal falling boat Void City, Mang Yong explained enthusiastically when he saw that Ning Cheng did not understand. It would take nearly 10 days to travel from the immortal falling boat Void City to the Jiaoliang mountain. If Ning Cheng fully activated the Starry Sky Wheel, it would only take 3 days at most. However, since he had a long-term cooperation with Mang Yong, he was not in a hurry to travel for a few days. Along the way, Ning Cheng saw many cultivators coming and going in a hurry. Some were heading to the Jiaoliang Mountain from the Immortal Falling Boat Void City like them, while some were returning to the Immortal Falling Boat Void City from the Jiaoliang Mountain. Ning Cheng had wandered in the void for many years, but this was the first time he had seen such a lively void route. Mang Yong had been here many times and kept explaining to Ning Cheng along the way. 6 days later, Ning Cheng and Mang Yong stopped. A boundless grayish-yellow world appeared in front of Ning Cheng, as if a piece of dust covered the other half of the entire universe. Even though it was endless grayish-yellow dust, Ning Cheng could still feel the vast, majestic, and oppressive aura. There was no left, right, or up or down boundary, only a vast yellow dust mist. This is the broken Jiaoliang Mountain. As long as you enter this yellow mist, you will enter the range of the Jiaoliang Mountain. After Mang Yong finished speaking, he entered the yellow mist first. Ning Cheng also did not hesitate and followed into this vast yellow mist. Entering the yellow mist, Ning Cheng felt the majestic aura even more deeply. After stepping on the Jiaoliang Mountain, Ning Cheng finally understood why this place was called the Jiaoliang Mountain. His eyes and spiritual consciousness could only see a range of high and low mountain peaks. Ning Cheng spoke with emotion. Maybe it's more accurate to call this a mountain range. Mang Yong smiled. The reason why the Jiaoliang Mountain is called a mountain is because it's not a mountain range, but a real mountain. A mountain that stretches across the void. Until now, no one has been able to cross the top of it. The endless mountain range below is just the foot of the Jiaoliang Mountain. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. A mountain that stretches across the void. Just how high was this mountain? It reminded him of the Buzhou Mountain. Ning Cheng didn't know whether the Buzhou Mountain existed or not, but the Jiaoliang Mountain was right in front of him. As his spiritual consciousness swept out, he saw the figures of some cultivators flitting past in his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng did not feel that his spiritual consciousness was being suppressed to such a degree, nor did he have the means to extend his spiritual consciousness far enough like in an ordinary place. If it weren't for the many cultivators constantly flitting through his spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng would have thought that this place was a dead land. Because there was no trace of green here, just like the places he saw in the land of broken laws. The land of broken laws still had some green land, but there was nothing here. Apart from desolation, coldness, rocks, and loss, Ning Cheng couldn't find the slightest bit of vitality. Because the laws of the Jiaoliang Mountain are too powerful, even if a primordial chaos holy emperor came here, his spiritual consciousness could only wander within a certain range. In the depths of the Jiaoliang Mountain, there are some traces of battle. It's just that the Tao charm in these traces has dissipated, making it difficult to see anything. Mang Yong explained while choosing a direction. Let's head to the Black Clay Canyon now. There aren't many cracks in the void at the outermost periphery of the Jiaoliang Mountain. It's best not to bring out a flight-type weapon. Ning Cheng knew that Mang Yong was familiar with this place. Moreover, Mang Yong also had a Tao eye. So, he naturally wouldn't wander around randomly and followed behind Mang Yong. The two quickly entered the depths of the Jiaoliang Mountain. The Jiaoliang Mountain was indeed as vast and boundless as Mang Yong said. Even after Ning Cheng and Mang Yong walked for 7 or 8 days, the surroundings were still yellow and desolate. Some messy traces of battle were everywhere, some of which Ning Cheng could recognize as new, while others seemed to be from a long time ago. We can reach the periphery of the Black Clay Canyon in half a day at most. Mang Yong had just spoken when a tearing flame flew past him and Ning Cheng. The violent spatial fluctuations caused by the flame flying past still lingered, causing Ning Cheng and Mang Yong to subconsciously slow down. This flame was definitely the aftermath of an attack from a powerhouse. They could only see the aftermath of the attack and couldn't even see the person. From this, one could tell how strong the two sides were. After the two walked for another hour, they were suddenly shocked by the horrifying scene in the distance. Above the boundless black clay canyon, there were countless people fighting together. All sorts of treasures and Dao lights splashed in all directions, and from time to time, people would get blasted down and fall into the black mud below. In front of Ning Cheng's eyes, Dao charms crisscrossed, and spirit techniques filled the air. Outside the black mud, there were countless God spiritual veins scattered around. These God spiritual veins were middle grade, high grade, and even some top grade God spiritual veins. Every time someone tried to snatch a God spiritual vein, there would always be a battle. Standing here, the impression one got was fighting, snatching, death, and blood. The Jiaoyang mountain was indeed filled with treasures, Ning Cheng secretly said in his heart. At the same time, the laws of the Jiaoyang mountain were indeed powerful. Even with such a battle happening here, he and Mang Yong could only feel the spatial fluctuations when they got closer. Mang Yong also felt sluggish. He thought that snatching a God spiritual vein would require a team to search for it. Only after finding it could they snatch it. However, he didn't expect to see such a scene after arriving at the Black Clay Canyon. He only paused for a moment before saying to Ning Cheng, "Brother Ning, I'll go snatch a God spiritual vein first. We'll contact each other later." After saying that, Mang Yong's figure flashed and merged into the countless fighting cultivators. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath. If he didn't snatch such an opportunity, he would be an idiot. However, the most important thing was how he snatched it. This place was divided into many areas. Almost all the second step Dao confirming experts were fighting for top-grade God spiritual veins. To Ning Cheng, he definitely wanted to snatch a top-grade God spiritual vein. As for high-grade God spiritual veins, Ning Cheng and Mang Yong both looked down on them. Just as Ning Cheng was still hesitating, a powerful wood-attributed vitality aura surged out. A blue-colored spiritual vein gushed out of the Black Clay Canyon. This was a top-grade wood-attributed God spiritual vein. Ning Cheng's eyes lit up and he immediately rushed over. This was something he lacked the most. When Ning Cheng saw the wood-attributed top-grade God spiritual vein, so did the others. Several Dao Essence Divine Emperors and Ning Cheng rushed over at the same time. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.